Hey, this is Survivor Talk with D&D. I'm Dwayne.
And I'm David.
And we're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. And tonight is our recap and discussion of episode 13, the finale, It's Do or Die. And boy, was it ever a good one.
I had a neat experience because since I didn't see the first hour last night, I got on Facebook today, had loads of conversations with a lot of our awesome friends, and I went back and rewatched the first hour tonight with my family, actually. And sorry, let me turn us off on the other computer. Boy, we sound good. And it was neat because I watched it, not that I had the script, but I watched it from the perspective of all the friends that I talked to today.
Oh, on our Facebook group?
Yeah, and I really saw, I don't know if it was just me, where my eyes opened, but the edits were a little bit different, it seemed, in the first hour than the whole season.
Oh, I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. But it was neat to go back and watch it. I knew Spencer lost, obviously, because I picked up right when Wu walked up with Cass and her necklace.
Spencer,
yeah, we'll get to it. But it was just really neat because we had a lot of great discussion today on Facebook, and if you're on our Facebook group, you should be on our Facebook group. But it was really enlightening to go back and watch the first hour, which happened to be one of my favorite first hours of a finale ever.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and we will get to all that whenever we get to our initial thoughts.
How'd you miss that? It was a phenomenal finale.
There you go.
It's right there.
Phenomenal finale. That's just an accident waiting to happen. I could mess that up easy. So we don't have a D&D after show tonight unless we just decide to throw one together. You never know. But David has something to tell you about the upcoming weeks.
The upcoming weeks. We will not be having a feedback show this Sunday.
No
Sorry.
Feedback. I will be in a log cabin with my wife. Or eating out somewhere.
I thought you were going to use some other phrase, but we'll leave it at a log cabin, okay?
We rented a cabin in the mountains. What are you talking about? Hey, hold on. Speaking of that, Joshua, my 17-year-old, he comes up to me yesterday. Well, I was at work, so he comes in and he sits down and he goes, "All right, Dad, I need to know things y'all are going to do while you were in Pigeon Forge besides hanging around in the cabin. You need to have lots of stuff planned." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, "No, just have an itinerary because I don't want to even think about it."
I want to know that you're out sightseeing and riding bikes and other things.
Tweet me every 5 minutes. Anyway, go ahead.
Hopefully this Sunday night I'll be in a movie theater watching X-Men: Days of Future Past. And
how many X-Men movies can they make? Gosh.
There's like 15 so far. They've got 31 left to go.
X-Men.
So, hey, as long as they're making 100 million, they're going to keep making them.
Yeah, really.
And
why are you still making podcasts?
As long as one person watches, we'll keep making.
Yeah.
Then we got a couple things planned. We've got our sit down with Cass. We've got our sit down with Tony, and we've got our big table sit down with our friends Andy and Steve. Hopefully, scoop in for our postseason round table.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
The round table will probably be first. We're shooting for the end of next week.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere around the 28th, 29th, 30th. And then I haven't decided if I want Cass first or Tony first. I haven't decided yet.
It depends on who's going to need to explain more, because we're going to have questions after one of them for the other one.
I know, and if we do Cass first, then if we do Tony first and then we do Cass, Tony's going to want to come back on. Although they said they come on together, but I'd rather do them separate.
Yeah.
But how awesome is that we have the winner, even before the season began, Tony said, "Hey, man, I want to do y'all's show." How awesome is that?
I can't think of anything more awesome from this season. But the reason we're spreading it out is because we don't want to overload you with all this information. We want to spread it out, work it into your summer so that you can, believe me, the roundtable is going to be about 6 hours. So that'll take you probably a week and a half to listen to.
Yeah.
Between Andy and Steve, I'm scooping. We're just here to put up the graphics. That's all we're going to be there for. And then once we get Cass, and then once Tony hears all of Cass's, makes all of his post-Cass comments, then we'll get into Tony's comments.
Yeah.
And it should be August 12th by then.
Yeah.
We set it for the next
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. But we are going to try to do some stuff during the summer, just not as often.
Oh, yeah.
Because our wives would do horrible things to us.
And we'll do some non-Survivor stuff.
Yeah.
shooting the breezes.
Yeah. Speaking of graphics, how about Drew Downs, the guy that does all our graphics?
I keep hearing that name, but I don't know who you're talking about. Could you ever bring him on to meet him sometime?
I don't know. I tell you what. Let me call him. All right. Let's see if he answers. Drew, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, it's Drew Downs. Say hello to everybody, Drew.
Hey everybody.
So y'all on YouTube, you get to see Drew. Those of you listening on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, you get to hear Drew. But Drew is our graphic artist. Is that what you are officially called, Drew? Graphic artist?
Yes, graphic artist, graphic designer, guy that makes things pretty.
Yes. So he made these nice.
He took on the challenge of making us look good in animation.
Yes. It's funny because I've gained about 30 pounds since you made my caricature, and I was at Apple Store the other day, and I brought it up because I needed ID, and I said, "Hey, that's me," and he goes, "No, that's not." No. I said, "I've gained some weight. I'm sorry." So then I went to my church website, and he goes, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Oh, yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that's you. But so Drew is responsible for our logo, the Survivor Talk logo, and the Shooting the Breeze logo, and he's responsible for our nice overlays, and he's responsible. What we've just recently started doing is creating custom graphics for each episode, so that it's more eye-catching on YouTube instead of my face going like this, right? Or David's head going, right? So Drew has made those. So Drew, why don't you talk to us? Tell us a little bit about why you like to do graphic design, and then why you like to do Survivor Talk stuff.
Things I tell people about what I do. I'm paid or I'm told to make things look better than they really are. I'm a good advertising person, so
yes.
I hope that I did that when I created all your stuff. But y'all look pretty great as is, as we can see here. So I had good stuff to work with. Survivor Talk's fun because I get to do some fun stuff with it, and I get to goof off with y'all, and that's always fun.
He couldn't play Survivor because he's not a good liar.
Yeah.
You know, he tries. Yeah. He lies with the pen.
That would be terrible.
With the brush. That's right. He lies with his art. He doesn't lie from the face.
That's right.
I get paid to make bad things look good. Oh, it's a joke. Oh, okay, Drew, we get it. Nice.
What's he trying to say? I don't get it.
We actually have a video on our YouTube page. I don't remember what it's called, but it's about 10 minutes, maybe 12, and it is, I think it's 200 times faster or 400 times. No, 2,000 times faster.
2,000, yes.
2,000 times faster. So 10 minutes is how long it is. It's how he made our logos. It is the most cool thing to watch. But what's amazing is each week I will grab a couple of pictures off the CBS website, and I'll give them to him, and he produces these great graphics for our YouTube channel and for our webpage. So thank you, Drew. We just wanted to have you on. And thank you, and because I know we pay you penance. We pay you so little. I mean, probably if you were to actually bill us what you bill, other people, we wouldn't be able to do it. Or people would have to shop a whole lot more Amazon.
That's right. So go shop Amazon. Ad here.
Yeah, shop Amazon so you can get paid.
I'm gonna make it another patron level. If we get $50 a month, then we'll start paying Drew what he's worth.
That'll be great.
No, but hey, y'all. In all seriousness, Drew never really asked for money. He said, "Yeah, man, I'll do it." And so David and I said, "Well, we want to help you out and pay you a little bit." So he lets us pay him. But, really, when I ask him to do stuff, he's like, okay. So thank you, Drew.
I enjoy it. Thank you.
So what did you think of the finale before we get to talking about it? Did you enjoy it? Did you watch it?
I haven't seen the finale yet, to be honest. But I've been spoiled, so it doesn't matter.
Have you watched the season?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay. I think I'm 2 or 3 episodes behind. But,
dude.
But I'm not surprised of the winner. So.
That's because Dwaine keeps sending him pictures, and he knows who's going. That's where he's getting spoiled.
He's like, oh, well, I guess I know Jeffrey got voted out.
He gets the picture of Tony with his arms up, and Drew goes, okay, I see what happens.
You joke. That's exactly how I found out.
Yeah, I guess you were spoiled whenever I sent you the graphic. I hadn't even thought about, but hey, I mean, it's part of the job.
So every time that I was asking you, are you worried about spoilers? It was for me.
Hey, let us do the jokes, okay? You just drew the art. We'll do the jokes.
Yeah. All right, Drew. Anything you want to say? Do you want other work from other people? Do you do a lot of on the side work or not?
I do some, and but I'm a proud parent of 2 kids and married, so.
So you don't want a lot of people calling you.
I do good to get by.
Okay.
With time with them.
So the first 5 callers, he will work for you for $1,000 an hour.
Yeah,
After that though, sorry, no.
Well, Mrs. Downs would probably allow that. She'd go for that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Wait, what? No, you need to get on the computer.
Yeah. Family time? I don't think so.
That's right. It's usually the opposite.
All right. Well, he's Downs Drew on Twitter.
That's right.
And, do you have a website you want people to see?
No, I don't really have one. The work I do usually has to stay like in lock and key anyway.
I understand. Yeah, he works for high-level government contractors. Not really, but
I was about to say there goes
I don't really know. I have no idea who he works for.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, his name goes off the screen.
I would tell you who I drew, but I'd have to kill you. So.
That's right. Drew.
I love what he put under his overlay. The fella that does graphics. That's what he put.
That's it.
I asked Scoopin what he wanted under his overlay for the round table, and he gave me like 5 sentences, and it was all a bunch of hogwash. Getting Scoopin to do anything serious is just the most difficult thing in the world.
So I'll be expecting an email about that?
Yes, you will be making an overlay for Scoopin.
Yes. Sounds good.
All right, Drew. Thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
All
Drew.
right, we'll talk to you later, man. Yep, roll tide. Yeah, there you go. Oh, man, David, that was fun. Well, hey, we want to thank you for starting your Amazon shopping using our links. They're on our Facebook group and on our website. When you shop Amazon, you get good deals. You get no tax. You get shipping, especially if you use Amazon Prime, 2-day free shipping. And when you use our links, you help out the show. So we really appreciate that. It doesn't cost you any extra. And I don't care how small the item is, it helps. So thank you so much. And don't forget about us during the summer. It's really important because we still have monthly bills to pay during the summer. And if you'd like to consider supporting us financially, like you don't mind giving a little bit extra besides the Amazon, then go to survivortalkwithdnd.com/support, and you can use either PayPal or Patreon. And either way, we have a few thank you gifts depending on what you give. So thank you so much for doing that. Let's get to the show, David. Initial thoughts. I do have a couple. Family visit, I called it. Yeah, I did.
Do we really need to go back and check that timeline?
Hey, I know I called family visit. You might have called it too. I'm just saying I know I called it. And on Facebook, we were having a discussion about it, and there was some talk like, well, there's not enough time. There's not going to be enough time to do a family visit. And I stuck by my guns, David.
We were trying to talk Andy into it. He was the one that was fighting us on it.
Yeah, Andy was all, no, they don't have time. I know more about Survivor than y'all do. Come on.
Yeah, he's not going to listen to this. We can talk about him.
Yeah, he doesn't listen. Yeah. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and leave comments. David is watching the comment stream, and we will just, in the middle of the show, talk about your comments, although Will Dennison decided to write a book, so we may not talk about Will's...
all of his chapters.
Yeah, Will's like, oh, you're not having a feedback show? Guess what?
Yes, you are.
Here's my 5 minutes. But anyway, so you're watching on YouTube. Feel free to leave your comments. Now, if you are watching us and you've scooted back to the beginning, then, I don't know when we'll hit your comment. You may not hear it for a while. But anyway, I have a couple more initial thoughts. Do you have several or just one or two?
One of my initial thoughts is Colby Donaldson.
Yeah.
From season 2. All over again.
Yes.
Yes. What's your next one?
My next one is I liked how Probst started the show. I liked the whole way they did the show with Probst starting in the audience, so you got the feel of the live reunion show from the very beginning. I like how they went to him during commercials. I really enjoyed it. It made it like a whole 3-hour event and not a 2-hour show with a 1-hour tag on. I really liked it.
Absolutely agree. I've always wondered, to me, if I ever got on the show, to me, I would really look forward to watching the finale in the green room, whatever room they use, with the other survivors and getting to enjoy that together.
Yeah.
I would really like to do that, but having the show like the way it was like we're in the audience, which is just about as good. And I completely agree. Such a great party atmosphere. We're glad you're here. This is all one family, one community. We're all going to watch this together. And, and it didn't hold anything back. It didn't try to hide anything like 10, 15 years ago when Probst would sneak in. It was great. He said, I'm here. You're there. This is the party you've been waiting for. This is a Super Bowl. So I thought it was great.
And I also love how he owned up to it about this being not only one of the greatest cast ever, but one of the greatest seasons ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he really owned up to it. And not that he had to own up to it, but I mean, he said it at least 3 or 4 times during the 3 hours.
Well, I agree with that in the sense that as our podcast has grown over the 5 seasons we've been doing it, our Facebook group has grown. Our discussions have got so much more in detail and so much more. I would hate to say intelligent because our first discussions were intelligent, but there's so much.
Those early viewers,
those early people, and us. That's us too. But I mean, we have some wonderful conversations on Facebook, and to me, that's made this season so much better. Not just getting to talk to Tony, in our messages. We don't know him personally. We just get to talk to him on the internet. It might not even be him. We never know, but. Cass has commented on our Facebook page, which is awesome, and it just makes us feel more involved the whole season.
Yeah.
And that's why this season has been even better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it really has. It's been fun for us. We'll be in the middle of a podcast and we'll get a tweet from Tony, like a direct message.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, you idiots, that's not what I meant, or whatever, And it's that has added an element. Now, I will say, some people go, oh, that's why you like this game. I liked both Tony's and Cass's game. Now, Tony has gone to the mat with me about Cass's game. He does not agree with me, and unfortunately, the last conversation we had was, well, you're an idiot for liking Cass's game. So hopefully he'll still come on the show.
This was part of my thing today. I got into a great conversation with Mike and Ryan, and I think Daniel chimed in about Cass and how she played and how at certain points of the season it seemed like she may have changed her strategy, may have adjusted it. And I think me and you and I don't know if it was Sindri or Miko, whoever been defending Cass, along with Fishback has been defending Cass. Yeah. And no matter what you do, it's still a strategy. I mean, and that's just what me and Mike were going back and forth today, Mike Razor, about, you got your opinion, I got mine, and that's the great part about just being on Facebook. We get to do that and have fun with it. And we had a blast. I love that conversation we had today.
Right.
Another thought that I had was...
well, hold on.
Oh, sorry. Finish yours.
There's 2 things I want to say about that. Number one, some of you don't want to go on a Facebook group because a lot of Facebook groups have a lot of crap in them. A lot of people talking smack, and I mean, although we talk smack, but it's fun smack. It's not meant to be insulting. There's not insulting people. It's a friendly Facebook group. We don't allow non-friendly stuff. Sometimes the discussions get heated, but it's never disrespectful, and we always put a stop to it if it is. So I do love that. You can have disagreements on there, and it's not personal. Right. Well, for some it's not personal. And then, but then the other thing I was gonna say about that was, even though we had those conversations with Tony, I like Tony's and Cass's game, whether I have been talking to them this season or not. I know some people are like, oh, y'all are biased because of that. But I mean, if I was biased towards Tony, then I would hate Cass's game, and if I was biased towards Cass, I would hate Tony's game. So I mean, it's been fun having those, and Jeff has talked to us, and LJ and stuff like that, and it's been exciting for us. We're just 2 guys that watched the show, and somebody went up to Tony at the finale and said, hey, do you know Dwaine and David? And he goes, oh yeah, I like those guys. Whoa, talk about a surreal thing for us. We're just a little small show, and we know survivors, and we get to talk to them. It's made the season even more fun for us, and so that's just been awesome.
To me, it's like you and I opened up the Facebook page and we're hosting a viewing party 7 days a week.
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
That's what it feels like.
And then during the summer, it'll go to Big Brother, and it'll go to people will probably talk about the horrible show Under the Dome.
What show is that?
Yeah. But I mean, it's open for all kinds of discussion. All right, enough of that. What was another one of your initial thoughts?
We've had some great family visits, but this was one of my favorites. And I'll give you credit if you called it first. But yeah, we picked out last week from next week on. That we heard voices. We really think there's going to be something. The boat pulling up. I loved this family visit because they thought it was gone. They didn't. Yeah. I really believe they didn't think it was happening because of the weather they had, I guess, and down to Final Four. These guys knew where they were. They knew it was Final Four. They were counting the hours, counting the days, counting the challenges. And this family visit was perfect. Yes. Just what they needed. Put the family visit, sit them in the bleachers, and make the four go to fight for life. And this was the biggest challenge. This was Spencer's exit challenge. And I thought it was absolutely wonderful.
Oh, yeah, and it helped Cass. Cass won that. I saw her interview with Poverty, which, by the way, I don't think I ever saw Cass. But still, I saw her interview with Poverty. And she talked about her husband cheering her on. She said, "You won't believe how far behind I was in that." Probst actually told her that he rarely ever counts people out completely, but he told her afterwards, I really thought there was absolutely no chance in the world you could win, and I had pretty much written you off. But her husband rooting her on is what really helped her. Yeah, the whole family visit and the way they showed up, just sitting on the beach, and it's like, that's my husband. Can you imagine, David, if you're on the beach? And
I love that expression.
Flying up on the boat. Wow.
And this led to the part of especially a slightly different edit for Tony. We got a very calm, emotional edit for Tony for this episode, and I found it kind of interesting. My other thing was, speaking of Tony, all you tinfoil buff people out there, if this was meant for Tony to win, why is there a puzzle in every challenge?
Yeah, really.
Because he is still out there trying to finish those puzzles. The slide puzzle first. He's still working on it.
Yep.
So all you people that think he was supposed to win and breeze the way through, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Hey, Will has a good question on the YouTube. I'm going to put it up here for you to see. Has there ever been a winner before who voted for the person voted out at every tribal council they attended? Man, I do not know that answer. Do you know that answer?
You mentioned Denise, and I think Denise could be one, but I don't know it off the top of my head now. Yeah. We need Steve Helling or Mike to figure that out for us. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if you're watching and you know that answer. So,
sure.
Believe it or not, I have a few more initial thoughts.
It was 2 hours. So.
Yeah, well, we just hit on one. I wrote a puzzle king Tony is not.
Right.
And then I wrote about tribal council. You know that CBS production has to clear what everybody's going to say, what their questions are and everything like that. And there is a reason Spencer went last. This might play into some people's conspiracy theories, but Spencer went last. So the last thing that the jury hears is a plea for Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guarantee you, I don't care what people are going to say, Probst may even deny it, although I seriously doubt it. Probst would have been disappointed if Wu had beaten Tony. I think so.
Oh yeah, I think he even said that in one of his interviews with Dalton Ross.
Did he? Okay.
I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I almost said that if he'd have been surprised, but he felt Tony was a deserving winner.
Oh yeah.
But absolutely, they set up the jury. They line up the questioning. They do the pre-tribal council talk. What are you going to ask about and all this kind of stuff. And when we get to that, we'll talk more about that because I got my thoughts on that too.
Yeah.
That was actually probably the least interesting part to me in some of the questionings, which I thought was kind of weak and off. But otherwise, a great finale. I said, I love the first 2 hours. Thought it was really, really, really good.
Well, let's talk about the first hour. So we have, I don't really care about previously on unless it was just a recap of the season.
We did previously on for the past 12 weeks, so we're good to go.
Yeah. So Tony gets back to camp, and he's emotional. He didn't like voting Trish out.
Right.
And this played out through the whole finale and reunion show. He said, look, voting Trish out was pure strategic. I really didn't want to.
But why?
Or that he felt badly about.
Yeah, was he going? My thought was at the last second he went with Wu because he thought Wu was going to be on the jury, and he wanted Wu to think at the end I stayed with Wu. There was nothing he could do to save Trish.
Right.
I mean, unless he played the idol, but sorry, Tony's not playing the idol on anybody, in my opinion. I think we talked about that too. There's no way. But, I mean, I thought he just went with them because he wanted to fit in with Wu. I don't think he cared about Spencer or Cass. But I don't know. I mean,
he said why he did it. He told Poverty why he did it.
What did he say?
He told Poverty, and he said the very reason that you said last episode of why he would vote out Trish. And that is the only chance to get rid of Spencer is to keep Wu in to win immunity.
Right. But he didn't have to vote for Trish. She already had 3 votes. He could have voted with Trish.
Well, that's true.
Maybe he wanted to tie the record of voting every person out that he went to tribal council for.
Well, now who would he have voted for then?
He would have voted for
with Trish.
Wu. Yeah, with Trish against Wu. So Trish still would have gone 3-2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then he turns on Wu because it would have come out 2 Trish, 2 Wu, third one Trish. Then Wu sees that Tony voted against him, breaking any pact that they had. And if Wu goes to the jury, which was Tony's plan, then Wu might not vote for Tony.
Right.
There's no point in taking that chance. There's no way he could save Trish, even with the idol. And why keep somebody that's that nice, that apparently is well liked? I mean, only person we saw Trish have a problem with was Lindsay and Cass.
Right.
Lindsay's gone, and if Cass is sitting beside Tony, Trish is not going to vote for Cass. Yeah. So why not put a vote on the jury? But like I said, I just didn't think there was anything he could do to save her.
Yeah. Well, that and he wanted. I agree with you, and he also. I remember thinking as I watched Poverty and listened to Tony that gosh, I cannot talk tonight. That David was right. I thought, David was right. That's why he got rid of Trish, because he wanted to keep Wu. So
yeah, because his strategy was take Cass, get rid of Spencer at some point or another. Got to get rid of Spencer.
Right. So they all congratulate themselves for being the final 4, and I liked Spencer was talking about how it was demoralizing for Tony to bring out all those idols.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch that? Just how demoralizing it was for him, because I don't really feel like he thought he had them all, and then he brings them out. It's like, dadgummit, can we ever beat you? I mean, is there anything we can do?
I mean, we talk about the stress that Tony's going through every night of staying awake, but poor Spencer, even when he comes back from a tribal council that he didn't have the idol, but still was saved by one of Tony's moves, he still comes back and realizes Tony's still not with me. He's going to turn against me again. He's going to vote against us.
Right.
Poor guy. I mean, this is why he had so many fans. Spencer was so popular. He didn't have to be Spencer. He was Spencer the underdog the whole time.
Yes, and that's exactly what he told Poverty today, or yesterday, whenever he recorded it, that he was the underdog, which really helped his game. He said, if I had gone in and played like I was going to play, where I wasn't on a bad tribe, I would not have been liked. I don't think I would have played the same game, and it would not have turned out this way. It actually benefited me to be on that bad tribe and to be the underdog, because people like the underdog, and I had to play differently.
He'd have been
right.
Yeah, he'd have been captain 0.0%.
Yeah. Now, why didn't they pursue Cass? Talking about, I mean, Spencer and Cass should have gotten together and talked about this whole idol thing, all right? Because Cass even said at camp, I'm not convinced he can use his idol at Final 4, right?
Right.
But that's all we heard of it, because Tony was safe. Tony played that idol without playing the idol.
Right.
I mean, he
he did. He played it very well, and it's one of those things where, unfortunately, you live and you learn, and those people have learned, and we have to. Well, they lived it, and the next group needs to learn from it. Ask the question. The worst Probst can say is, "I can't answer that right now," which is scary, Right. But I loved it later on when they said, when Spencer and Tony were talking, after the challenge that we're going to talk about, and he said that Probst didn't say you get a chance to to make your case to the jury.
Right.
You get a chance for Final 3. I love how they're giving us this intel that these guys are talking about this. Even poor Wu, when he doesn't know how to break a tie at Final 4. But anyway,
that was hilarious.
But this is really, really good. Probst was right that there's never been so many finalists that came to win and came to play the game, and that's what made the season so good.
Right. But Tony was right in that he said, my only hope is to bluff, that my idol protects me. And the other players have got to be kicking themselves in the butt for not realizing, wait a second.
every time they go to a challenge, and Tony sees a puzzle at the end, and he says, "Don't forget, I got an idol."
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to finish that puzzle, but don't forget, I got an idol.
Tony hates puzzles. Meanwhile, LJ's back at back at Ponderosa going, "Puzzles! I love puzzles!"
Exactly. He's sitting in the green room. Are you serious?
Another puzzle?
2 puzzles in a row.
LJ raises his hand. Solved it. In the green room. Solved it.
Yep. Right here. It's up here. Yep. I got it.
So the next morning, we get Cass talking to Tony about Trish. And it was interesting. She said she didn't think that it was smart for him to vote out Trish.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm asking. What did help him? I think it was a Wu thing. I think it was unfortunate for Trish, but partly a Wu thing. There was nothing he could do to save her, but be aligned with Wu. His only vote was Wu, other than Cass, which would have been a throwaway, but which would have been obvious that he wasn't going to vote for Wu or Trish, just to save himself. At least it's something he's got to own up to.
Yeah. Well, let's just forget about that and let's get to the family visit. They're all sitting in there, and of course I noticed later on when I looked at the CBS Express picture that Wu was in the what do they call it, shelter, because we had all kind of speculated were they the final 3, but you could see Wu laying in there. But how cool was that whole family visit? They all walk up. Poor Tony, man. It's just like, oh, I'm glad to see you, my best friend, but you're not my wife.
No, you're not my blonde, green-eyed wife.
Yeah. Because I could just imagine me coming off the boat, and you're like, those are not the cheeks I wanted to see. Those are.
Don't worry. We've already had this discussion. I'll still be an immediate family member. But I can see you saying, "Hey, David, good to see you." "Hi, everybody. I'm Dwaine. Good to see you. Where's Jeff? Hey, cameraman. How are you? Where's Bob? Where's Bob?"
Hey, Bob.
Dwaine, I'm your friend.
I'm not Terry, but I wore a wig just in case you need the imagination.
We get to the challenge, and everybody's ready to go, and Dwaine's still walking around. So this is a challenge. This is nice.
What are you?
Dwaine, come back. Let's start the challenge. I want to enjoy this.
Oh, look at the production table.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
How did the Dream Team do? Did they do well?
No, I would be more like, Probst, I have a question. I'd like to clarify some of the rules, please. And you'd be like, shut up. Don't ask.
We should be in the challenge by now. I know, but I'm going to spread this out.
Yeah.
This is going to take 4 hours.
Yeah, but that log is a couple inches longer, and that gives them an advantage. Do we need to get production out here to fix that? I would notice those things. It would drive me absolutely crazy.
You would be so awake going out there. You'd be on like the 5 Red Bull challenge. You'd be going so wild out there, looking at every little. I can hear your brain going.
Hey, I was building my deck, right? I finally got it done. All I had to do is screw in the planks for the.
So that immunity challenge only took you a week?
Yeah, that one took a long time, but it rained a lot. But I was getting so frustrated because every time you lay a deck board, I measure at 3 points to make sure that I'm, not going to have a deck that ends up going like this, at the end.
A unique design, yes.
Yeah. Wow, how'd you make it curve like that, Dwaine? So I got so frustrated because I was like 1/8 of an inch off. And if to fix it, I'd have a big gap, and I was so frustrated. And the guy who was helping me build it, who's actually the contractor, he comes over and he goes, "Dwaine, it's all right. Just squish it up against it. It'll all work out at the end. It's only 1/8 of an inch." Because we were only like 3 boards from the end, And I postponed work for like 4 days. I texted him. I said, "I am so mad. I'm not working on this anymore. I will see you on Thursday." And he goes, "Dwaine, it's the nature of wood. It's not, it's a little crooked sometimes."
So we're in the middle of a family visit puzzle challenge, and Dwaine goes, "Jeff, something's not right here.
Yes.
This puzzle is not lining up. We've got the wrong pieces or something."
Yes. Can we have a different rope? This rope is no, I wouldn't do that. All right, so family visit. We get Cass's husband. We get Spencer's sister, which I thought was just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he told Poverty that the reason why he brought her on was, even though he would have loved to have seen his mom and stuff like that, he knew that his sister would appreciate it more than anybody else. Yeah. So he did it for her. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
He did it for her.
Fan. Yeah.
I know. I just think that's so cool. It's like the best birthday present ever. Yeah. Hey, sis, I'm going to fly you out to the Philippines. And she goes and looks at a world map and go, oh, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take time off for that.
Yeah. So anyway, then Woo's was that Woo's brother?
His cousin.
His cousin. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty sure I read.
And they get the tree mail that they have an immunity challenge today, and they were all shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was in the. Oh, they must have just gotten it because he picked it up off the blanket. Yeah. He said, "Do y'all want to read tree mail?" So I guess they went and picked up tree mail before the family got there, maybe.
Immunity challenge. So we get a little bit of Cass talking to her husband about how she's hated.
Yeah, she's not the goat, but she's the most disliked.
Yeah. Guess what that means?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, Cass didn't really like being called a goat, but Cass, if everybody thinks they can beat you, then people are going to call you the goat. I know that's not how you played. You didn't want to be the goat.
Right.
But, and does she have a point? Because she has said it several times. Cass does not understand, based on what I've seen today. I'm looking forward to talking to her. She doesn't really understand why people don't like her so much. Her point of view is, look, if I was a male, I would be considered a hero. I would be praised for my actions. But since I'm a female, everything I have done makes me a word we don't say on our show.
Yes.
Is she right? What do you think, people that are watching on YouTube? Is she right? If a guy had been in her place, and she because she was saying, look, everybody expected me to be this loving mom and play that role, and I didn't play that role, and so they didn't like me.
Well, I don't follow as much social media as you might, and some people don't. I just don't read all the interviews. I don't hear all the exits. I will read Steve Helling's exit because I love he's got a really funny exit. But for the most part, I haven't heard a whole lot of that argument until watching it tonight because it was in the first hour. I mean, I've heard it brought up before. But is she right? Absolutely. Because if we're on an all-returnee season and Boston Rob pulls the same exact moves that she does and antagonizes people, he's a genius.
And everybody praises him, including me.
Yep. I mean, the first big move that got everybody mad was the flip, and everybody says, well, she wasn't at the bottom of that group. Well, she didn't like being not in control, and she's thought an opportunity to do something better, and maybe we can ask her the whole reasoning behind it, but if a guy makes that move, it's a genius. Yes. If certain guys make that move, it's a genius move. I'm sorry, but it is. I agree with her.
And about that flip, boy, I'm really glad I watched those 4 interviews today because Spencer said to Poverty, at least I think it was Spencer. It sounded like Spencer.
Okay.
Spencer said to Poverty's just beautiful. So Spencer said to Poverty that Cass wasn't on the bottom, and he doesn't understand the flip. But Cass told Poverty that Tosh basically told her, because Cass went and talked to her on the beach. They went to the beach every single day. Cass told her, look, I have a plan B and a plan C, and you need to have one too. Right?
Cass told Tasha?
Yeah. No, Tasha told Cass.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Because Cass was like, are we together or not? And Tasha did not go, yes, we are. She said, I have a plan B and a plan C, and you need to have one too. So, Cass said, I was at the bottom. There was no question I was at the bottom. And my choice to flip is when my game really started, and that's why I flipped, because I was at the bottom.
I wonder if some of her flip came from, as well, the social game that happens at the merge. How much time does it take for you to sit and talk to somebody like Trish? And if Trish likes you, you're going to like her right back. I think she's going to be that way towards you. How many conversations did they have before the flip conversation came up? Cass looks over there and says, well, we all want to vote one of them out, but there's somebody right there trying to run the show. I'm not quite sure I can trust her because she used to be with them.
Right.
And those people are treating me pretty well.
Right.
How much of the social game came into effect at the merge?
Yeah. Well, I'd say a lot of the social game
came
into effect at the merge. So
that's why I love the merge.
Oh, yeah. It's just very interesting. I'm really looking forward to talking to Cass. She also talked about oh, my mind just went blank, David. Don't you hate it when that happens? See, I turned 45, and all of a sudden all those brain cells that are supposed to connect and help you remember things, they decided to go have a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what happened. So let's move on.
So then you make up a little story to try and coax your brain into going back to the subject, and it doesn't happen, does it?
Yeah. So we go back to the green room. We get to see where they are watching the show, which I like. And everybody is getting along.
Except for Tony.
He apparently hasn't spoken with Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah ain't getting along with Tony at all.
I noticed I finally read Dalton's recap later tonight after I finally watched.
I haven't read it yet.
I got to read it. It's really good. And he goes into detail about the jury and their questions and stuff, which is really good. But I think he mentions, or I don't know if it was why I even brought that up, because it talks about the green room. Terry saw that, somebody on it. See, I'm having a brain block. We're not going together. On our Facebook group, somebody mentioned that Tony and somebody else wasn't in the green room. They weren't in the green room. No, and then when I watched it tonight, Gracie, I think, said, "Where's Tony?" I said, "Probably back there." I'm like, "No, that's blonde hair back there."
Oh, wow.
And we didn't, unless he was sitting beside somebody, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not Cliff size. So he could have been hiding on the sofa somewhere.
And he's short. I mean, all he has to do would be anywhere in the 3-foot radius behind Cliff, and you don't see Tony.
So Probst could have said, "All right, back to the show," and turn around and said, "Where's Tony?"
Right.
He's in the restroom.
And what does Probst say in the room? One of the best groups we've ever gotten together. Yep. I'm telling you, he loved this cast.
And I love this style of showing this finale. I mean, here they are, folks. Here's the meat wagon right here. Here's all your cast, and they're sitting here looking at each other. Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
We get along. That's why we're all just sitting here quiet. You don't see the weapons in the wall, do you? No? We're good.
Sarah slowly puts her knife back in her sleeve. Lindsay hides her syringe.
I love Wu trying to get more screen time, and Probst goes, "As if you're not on enough."
Yeah, really. Wu's like, "Hey, are you bringing kids in here?
I can do some kicks."
Yeah. Hey, before we get to the immunity challenge, look what I have, man.
Oh, here it goes.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who know me, that is not a beer. That is a Red Bull. Because I like me some Red Bull. All right, immunity challenge. Of course, Probst talks to them about the family visit. Hey, did y'all like the family visit? No, Probst. We were really hoping you wouldn't do that this year.
We just wanted the food.
Yeah.
We thought they were leaving.
Yeah. Somebody said to Poverty that Probst really played that well, that earlier in the season, whenever it would have made sense for a family visit, they were asking him about it, like at a challenge or whatever, and he was like, "Yeah, I really wanted one too, but it was out of my control." So they did not have any idea.
Well, he didn't even give a hint of it until last week in an interview, and I think it was with Dalton that he said, "You know what happens when you assume? We assume there's no visit, so well, you never know. Never know what could happen
when you assume." Family show.
You could be wrong.
So the family gets to watch, which I kind of like because they get to cheerlead.
Loved it.
And you called the whole voice thing.
Hello.
That's right. In fact, that's what originally got us thinking that there could be a family visit, was you saying, "Hey, what about that weird, not weird, but that different sound? We don't recognize that voice."
Young female pitch voice that did not sound like Cass. Why would Cass be telling him to jump? Yeah. What I recognized right away, I would probably have a hard time in this challenge.
Oh, my gosh.
The match was this big.
Your feet are huge, and they would not fit on that thing.
I know, and poor Cass, I'm like, "Cass, you're so small, but, you don't weigh anything, so you're not holding down anything. That wind's about to take you off there."
Cass and Tony were scared to death.
She is like me. If I'm on the top of a tower and somebody says, "Take a picture," I'm holding the camera out as far as possible, taking the picture away from the edge. She's pulling up the bucket and just dumping it somewhere, hoping it goes into the chute.
Well, you know what happens is when you're scared of heights like that, and I am, so I know, it takes you a while to get used to being up there. Yeah. If you can ever get used to it being up there. After a while, you get okay and you get more comfortable. But initially, man, I could so relate to Cass. If I put my arm out, I'm going to fall. It's just.
Oh, absolutely.
And Tony's like, "This isn't cool, Jeff. This isn't cool."
Y'all see how high this is? Y'all see how high? And the tide's going out, guys. The tide's going out. This is the wrong time of day.
I love ants over there.
And then I'm thinking, well, at least if I fell, I'd fall in water. But I'm like, no. Being up that high, you fall, you're out of the game. But, just don't look down. Just reach for that key somewhere.
Yeah. Boy, Cass just did horribly. She told Poverty today, she said, "I almost wish they had just done one of those really fast, like taken the film and showed you the whole thing but sped it up. She said, because it was forever.
20 minutes later.
Yeah, there were so many problems that I had, and when she said when you went up there the first time, there was a bar that helped you get up.
Yeah.
After that, it wasn't there. So getting up and down was even harder. So
I know when she got her rope stuck on the thing, I'm thinking, oh, that's lucky. Pull it up because it's going to come right to you. And Probst says, you can't do that. And you were talking earlier about how Probst says he never counts anybody out. You could tell when he walked off the plank and came up to watch the puzzle that he was pretty much counting Cass out.
Yeah. Hey,
Poor
Cass,
thing was, not even a cameraman was back there because the camera shot was from the puzzle.
Yeah.
Of Cass in the background. She's still trying to get the key.
Yes.
What about Tony saying I can't jump off because I can't swim?
He had to climb down. That was awesome. Don't you know, back at the precinct, they are giving him such a hard time about having to climb down the pole. That is hilarious.
I love that he walks out there.
Jump. No, Jeff. No, Jeff.
A high pole in deep water and a puzzle.
Yeah.
Can I just go eat something somewhere? What's the point of me being here right now?
I think I have this idol that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Idol, guys. Idol.
Man. So Spencer jumps in. Cass gets back in. Oh, my gosh. Does Cass ever make, like, the biggest comeback? I really thought Spencer was going to win this.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, he had that one piece in the middle that it's almost like his sister was right. Come around and look. You've got a hole in your puzzle. I wonder if he saw that, because if he'd have seen a solid on his side, he would never have known he had the wrong piece. And if he had known that, it probably would have thrown off his whole middle and gotten back in the game. But it's like that's what stalled him. He had the wrong piece in the middle.
Yeah. She stopped talking smack about this time.
Yeah. When he took the necklace, it's like, oh, he'll get it back. And that's just like Spencer. I mean, Spencer's the same type way. And then Spencer's like, don't say that. Don't say that. This is Survivor. Don't say that.
Oh, he doesn't need luck. He's awesome.
Are you trying to jinx me? Stop.
I love that she's talking all that smack. I thought that's awesome.
Yes.
And until, and then she's like, oh, crud, he's going to lose. And Cass just, I mean, you got to give Cass credit for that. Way to go.
And I love the fact that her husband was there. I mean, how awesome is that to hear that voice, and all you're thinking is $1 million in my family, $1 million for my family. And that was just awesome.
Okay,
that's why I love this family visit. It was perfect.
Yeah. And this is another thing I liked about Cass's game. She, at least from what we saw, she always kept her cool.
Yes.
And she never gave up. Right? Probst even said it during the challenge. She never gives up. She always keeps her cool.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's why I think she's more cerebral than Spencer. Spencer didn't. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Spencer. But his strategy was not to lose and not to get voted out. He was scrambling, doing all he could. Cass was in a different seat in that she was the choice to be taken to the end. So what I thought she was doing was building the jury against whoever was going to take her. Just like last week, she got a lot of grief from Tony and from others, and Tony still thinks it's the wrong move. That she revealed his secret to Wu. But like I put on Facebook, to me, all she was saying was, hey, Wu, when you're on the jury, after me and Tony send you there, you should know that he is never going to take you to the end. He never had plans to take you to the end. And I just want you to know that before you get taken out by me and Tony.
Right.
I thought it was a good move if that's what her intention was, and I really thought it was. Plant the seeds of the people going on the jury.
You know what's interesting? I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's still on because it's about Wu. Wu did that move out of to be honorable and to go by his 5 code of life, his codes of life. But don't you know when he watched the episode a couple weeks ago when Tony said, I'm going to have to get Wu out, that he thought, oh, man, this guy that I kept my honor for and all that stuff was not being as honorable to me as I thought he was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wu to me at the finale almost, it looked like, well, first of all, his arms were crossed, which usually means that you're closed off.
Defensive, yeah.
But also, whenever Probst asked him, it's almost like he turned on a switch, said his answer, and turned it off.
He turned on the Wu switch, the public Wu switch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, now, and I'm not saying a negative thing about Wu. I'm saying that Wu handled himself well at the finale. I think Wu probably regrets what he did, but doesn't want to come out and say that because it goes against why he says he did what he did.
Yeah, well, I agree. He regrets that, but at the same time, he walks with his head still high because he
Right.
did what he felt was the honorable thing. And if he took Tony to the $1 million, then that's what he did. You know,
But see, here's
oh,
the problem. Go
I
ahead.
agree. Herman Edwards said it for the Eagles. You play to win the game.
Yes.
That's why you're in a game, to win it. You're not in it to play it. You're in it to win it.
Look, I don't mind if you like Wu, but you can't like the way he played the game because he lost the game because of his move. He should have went against Cass. He would have had a better shot against Cass. So yeah, he did the honorable thing, but it cost him $900,000.
Yep.
And you know, why did you come to play Survivor? Did you come to play Survivor to show what kind of person you are in life, or did you come to play Survivor to play the game? You came supposed to, you open the Monopoly box, you play Monopoly, you close the Monopoly box, you go back to life. You go on the island, you play Survivor, you finish Survivor, you go back to life. You don't... I'm not going to let Connie win Monopoly just because it's honorable.
The only game I ever didn't try to win was Risk, because I hated playing Risk, and my brother liked to play Risk, and I got the games out fine. Here's the dice, let's roll, whatever we have to do, just win. I don't like this game, just win. That's not why I spent 39 days starving and dying out in the heat in the shelters out there, because I want to just pull somebody and let them win. I'm sorry, but he did. And I think if he really thought that he was going to beat Tony, then he just wasn't watching. He was watching the game from the inside, not from the outside, and seeing what Tony was doing.
Yeah. I mean, has there ever been a season of Survivor where the person went to the season finale and said, you should award me the win because I'm honorable? And I know it didn't work. They didn't win. I don't think. I could be wrong.
No, I mean, Ethan won because he played the best game. He was a good player and he was honorable, but he wasn't in the same situation, I don't think. I don't know. I don't remember all the details, but he's one of the few honorable people I remember winning.
Yeah. Well, they have to say goodbye to their families, and don't you know that would be such a sad time?
Yep. Absolutely.
And
especially for Spencer. It's double loss for him because he knows he's in trouble. Yeah. He's going to say goodbye.
Right. I was thinking especially for Cass because that relation is even tighter.
Right.
It kind of goes with the whole blood versus water thing, right? You've got Spencer and Cass with blood, and you've got Wu. Well, I guess Wu's was blood because he's a cousin. Yeah. But I can't wait for blood versus water next season. That's going to be awesome.
So when he gets home tonight, Spencer's sister goes, "Thanks for having me there on the worst day of your season."
Yeah.
The day you lose and the day you go home. I'm so glad I could come.
Yeah. Well, so they have to say goodbye, and I can just imagine the walk back to camp. Unless I don't know if they walk to the challenge or if they get on the boat or whatever. I don't know how far away that stuff is. But getting back to camp, and you get back to camp, you're just kind of like, oh. Man. Yeah, either you're like, oh, man, or you're revitalized.
Well, all the way back that Spencer was doing the Tony thing, and he was thinking of what he could do. I got to come up with some reason to keep myself in the game. Because, the family went through the woods, and the Castaways went back down the beach the way they came in. So they had to walk somewhere.
Yeah. One thing that Tony said, but before we get back at camp, one thing that Tony said to Poverty, which I'm sure he'll tell us this too, but he said that every night that he hardly got any sleep. He rarely slept while he was on the island. But that every night he had 2 rocks out on the beach. One was his wife and one was his daughter. Kind of, and I instantly thought of Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway, with the volleyball.
Wilson.
Yeah, with Wilson. He would go to the beach, and I've never thought about this, but if this had to be an incredible help to him, right? Mm-hmm. He goes and he talks to his wife and his daughter. He personalizes these rocks, always the same ones, I would assume. We'll ask him. And it takes you out of the game for a moment. And I'm sure it was what's the right word? Not cathartic. Mentally helpful. Whatever, I can't think of the right word. To be able to talk to them like that, even though it's not them. It's kind of like
therapeutic.
Right, yeah, therapeutic. It's kind of like in Gladiator when he has the little dolls of his family and he talks and he prays every night and everything. He said he would do that. He would put the moon to bed and then he would think strategy again. And he would do all of his strategy talk, all of his strategy thoughts at night. He would go, okay, how am I going to fix all these mistakes I made during the day? And he'd figure it all out and then he'd go play the next day. It's just pretty
so
cool.
You could see him doing that because you see him doing it anyway with the camera and at other times, and I guarantee you he probably heard his wife's voice.
Oh, yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
That was good because I could hear Terry's voice if I was doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's just what struck me by it is I've never thought of that, but that for me would be so helpful. I mean, and I guess I can relate. I don't know if I can relate to it, but I instantly related it to the movie Castaway because Wilson saved Tom Hanks's life.
Yeah,
it was a volleyball, but it was like a child. It was like a best friend. He talked to him, everything. He never talked on the island until he had Wilson. Right? And it was very therapeutic. It helped him talk through problems. It helped him to want, he would figure out things because he had Wilson. He talked to him about it. It's just, I can imagine if you're going to go on Survivor, do this. Find a place where you can make your wife and your kid or whatever, and when you're alone at night, go talk to him. What a great idea. I just think that's a fabulous idea.
I can see future seasons. That's my family over there. Leave those rocks alone. You can go pick out any other rocks you want, but that's my family, my house. Draw a little line in the sand, get a little Les Nessman going, and put the square around the rocks. That's my house. That's New Jersey. Leave it alone.
I wouldn't particularly draw faces on them or anything, because then someone Russell would walk up and, aha, your wife, throw her in the ocean, or else put her on his. Me and your wife had a little fun this afternoon.
Hey, why you put my wife on the fire? Get a log or something. That's what I would be thinking about going on the show, and that you really need some way to escape the game cleanly during the game. You need moments where you can sit and talk to somebody and not be accused of strategizing or anything, but just it would be optimal to have that one person where you say, hey, so what do you think your kids are doing right now? Think about that, or what do you think they'd say about this beach? What would they say? Would your kids eat this coconut? And just get out of the game for a minute. And I really think everybody needs that. But maybe Tony's the one person that's strong enough that can talk to rocks. He can. But I think he was, because even though he was in alliances, Tony was always playing for Tony. Tony came first. Tony did this first. Absolutely. He had his alliances, but at the end, there's only going to be one, and he of all people knew that.
Yeah. He said that he and Cass, or Cass did. Cass may have said this, that she and Tony talked a lot on the island, because they would both be up before everybody else, and they would go walk and talk about stuff. So know that in moments like that, it's not always strategy talk.
Yeah.
I would think you get really close to people.
Oh, yeah.
Talk with them one-on-one.
Until you see their confessionals when you're watching the season back and hear what they actually have to say about you.
Yeah. So Cass is back at camp, and she's excited. I get to send Spencer home. She's in a great spot. She won immunity.
Right.
In a great spot. And I like what she said. My goal was to go against 2 bronze. I have succeeded in my goal. Because now she can get rid of Spencer. It will be against Tony and Wu. And that was her goal. And, of course, they're all thinking final 3. So she's thinking she gets to plead her case. After they get rid of Spencer. And Spencer is thinking, crud, I'm going to miss the final 3 by 1.
Yep. Just need one more shot, one more chance.
Until he talks to Tony. Did you notice, Tony? Being a true fan of the game, I'm sure you did. Which I know Tony's a fan of the game, but he didn't catch this until Tony said it. Probst didn't say, and a chance to defend yourself against, with the jury, or whatever he says. Good catch. Good catch, Spencer. You wanted to talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Well, talk about it.
Well, just Spencer brings up the fact that, it's one of those moments that we don't always get to see about the super fans, the real fans. And even Tony says he's a super fan, and I got to trust him in this. And he's right. He pointed out that Probst did not say you are playing for a chance to give your case and win the $1 million. Just like he hasn't said, if you have any idols, this is your last chance to play idols. Probst never said that, which fed into Tony's bluff. Yeah. So I just love these moments. And I never really bought that Tony was going to buy it. The only time they really edited it well was at Tribal Council, but he knew going in. It's like Tony was going into the interrogation room and said, look, I know you're a criminal, and I know you did this, and no matter what you're going to say, I know it's not going to be what's in my best interest. But you say it, and I'll listen. And, that's a good point. You're bringing up a good fact that I didn't catch, I didn't realize. But, I'm just going to nod and smile and then go back to doing what I was going to do.
There is no if you are Tony, I don't care what Spencer says, you do not keep Spencer.
Why? Exactly. I'm not wasting that vote on the one person I really cared about, last tribal council, to let you stay in the game one more time. Because that would disprove any chance I had of making Trish forgive me, because I had to keep Wu to beat Spencer.
Right.
And it turned out to be Cass to beat Spencer. But still, this is why I voted Trish out, my friend. You are going home.
Yeah. Hey, Will made a comment about this in one of his very long comments. Will. Spencer did a good job of trying to sell Tony on voting Wu out at Final Four. It wasn't going to happen, but he made the case. That said, Spencer should have made Tony 2 promises. He should have said, Tony, let me make fire against Wu. If you do, I will take you to the Final 2 if I'm given the chance, giving you 100% chance of being in the final if I win the fire challenge. And I'll vote for you no matter who you're up against if I'm on the jury. He made the former promise, but not the latter. Now, would saying that have made the difference? Probably not, but he could have made his pitch just a little bit stronger.
Okay, but it's not completely true. I will take you to the Final 2 if I'm given the chance, giving you a 100% chance of being in the final if I win the fire challenge. What if Cass wins the next immunity challenge and takes Spencer?
Yeah.
She wouldn't, but there's that minuscule, like Wu would take Tony. You know, how crazy is that? Cass would take Spencer. So, I mean, he wouldn't have total control unless he won the challenge, which he would have, by the way. I'm sorry, but that last challenge was made for Spencer.
Yeah.
But
and to be honest with you, Wu wouldn't have won if he hadn't followed Tony half the time.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I mean, and even who said that? Davis said that, because Davis likes Wu, and he sees Tony. Why is Tony cheating? He's cheating. I said, he's not cheating. He's just looking. Yeah. He's not taking his blocks off. He's just looking at his blocks. Well, the problem was he should have cheated off Cass and not Spencer and Wu.
Yeah. So Will has something else to say about Spencer in the Final Four.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, y'all, if you're watching on YouTube, we got lots of people watching. Put your questions up or put your comments up. We're going to talk about them, all right? Scenario, Will says, Spencer doesn't struggle with the Final Four puzzle and wins immunity. What happens? In my opinion, Tony's brilliant ploy with his special powers idol works. Everyone remains afraid to vote for him. Wu is voted out, and Spencer runs away with the Final 3 challenge, just like you just now said. Right? He takes Cass to the end and wins 9-0. I'm much happier with the way it played out. Tony played the best game of any player this season, but I think Spencer was one puzzle away from the million.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Good job.
But it's almost ironic that watching Spencer do that last puzzle, I still think it was that middle piece that threw him off, if that's what it really looked like. But it's almost like he was doing that puzzle almost as fast as Tony was trying to do the slide puzzle. Yeah. And Cass came up, looked at the pieces, and said, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Then again, she could have been running up the beach staring at all their puzzles, getting a good idea of how it went as well.
So did you see what Will wrote to you? That's the point. Cass wouldn't have taken him. Do you see that on the YouTube comments?
Yeah. Well, then again, Wu shouldn't have taken Tony. So who knows?
Right. Yeah. Who knows
what would have happened? Yeah. But I agree. Cass wouldn't have taken Spencer. So I mean, I see that's his point. Then saying there's a 100% chance that he would go.
Yeah.
He would go to the final because Cass would take him, and so would Spencer. But then again, you can trust Wu, but why would you trust Spencer?
Right.
And why would you put your fate in somebody else's hands? That's what Tony never wanted to do.
Yeah. So we get Cass and Wu talking. We must get Spencer. And Cass says, I'm not changing my mind on that. We're getting Spencer. We have to get Spencer.
Right.
And Wu doesn't remember what happens with the tie. Okay, all these people that think I'm mean to Wu, he threw me a slow pitch right here.
A watermelon-sized pitch.
Hello. And then he thought, and what if it's a fire challenge? I love him.
We had dinner tonight after soccer practice. We had dinner, and I said, hey, let me check on demand and see if the survivors come up so I can watch it there instead of watching online. I went in there, and Terry watched it with us, Davis watched it with us, and, of course, Gracie and me. And we're all watching. Terry goes, he should be an actor. His facial expressions are so funny and so good.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that we like about him. When it was raining so bad and everyone was all miserable, he's all like, "This is why I love Survivor. This is awesome." I mean, he was enjoying the game, right?
Right.
He wasn't playing strategically, but he was enjoying the game.
Exactly. Exactly. He was, and everything he said you took is flat out honest and real woo. There wasn't anything that seemed deceptive or lying, and all the way to the end, we got real woo.
And you know what? Those people don't win in Monopoly, and they don't win in Survivor. Can't we just have fun playing Monopoly? Sure, I'm having a blast beating your butt.
Hey, let me read. That hit me.
I am having fun. What's wrong with you?
Like a side shot coming in. It's like your words were coming through the screen and hit me as I was getting ready to read.
Yeah, because you were reading something when I said it.
It was. Mike K. Commented on Will's comment about voting at tribal councils. He says Natalie White voted for the person voted out at every tribal council they ended in Samoa, and so did Russell. Awesome. In Redemption Island, Boston Rob voted correctly every time. Well, it was his season, but good point. Except for once when he decided they should split their votes for Philip Christina due to worrying about Christina had an idol, and Boston Rob voted for Philip. So even then, Boston Rob voted in the winning plan that sent the right person home.
Right. I love Mike K. Between him and Steve Helling, we know we have answers to any Survivor question just one Facebook message away.
So stay on the line, Mike.
Yes.
If you can, stay on.
Yes.
Because we might have some questions here in a minute.
Yeah. All right, final tribal. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, put your comments there, and we're going to talk about them. Okay? Final tribal, Cass. Okay, so this is not the final tribal, but this is the tribal council where there's 4 of them, right?
Right, final 4
tribals. My mind is like,
woo! Mm-hmm.
Not woo, but...
How appropriate is that?
Yeah, sorry, that was totally unintentional. We've been on the show now for an hour, and we're to the first immunity challenge. I love it. I just, you know what? Personal moment. I love this. I love podcasting. I love Survivor Talk with D&D. Thank you so much for listening and helping us be able to do this. It is so awesome. Thank you. Yes. All right. I'm going to cry, David. I just have an emotional moment.
Do you want me to be your mother here or your podcast partner? Make up your mind.
Yes. How about the editing on that one, making everybody think she was telling that to Tony?
Exactly. Great job.
All right. So at the tribal, Cass, that was the biggest comeback ever. You are the queen of comebacks.
I want to see more of the jury.
Yeah.
How is she wearing that necklace?
Yeah. Trish, okay, the first time they mentioned, so he's like that, and she's like, yeah, having my husband really helped. Shot to Trish.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Family visit? I missed the family visit?
You just saw the jury. Oh, you're kidding. Cass, family visit?
Yeah. Trish is like, now, I hate you, Tony.
You're not kidding. I forgot about that. When they mentioned family, oh my goodness, the jury was, they're here?
Yeah.
They're on the island?
Well, okay, here's the thing, though. Trish's loved one was on the island. And maybe Spencer, not Spencer, and maybe whoever was out before her. But definitely Trish's was on the island. Because every season we hear about, in fact, I think when I was listening to Dawn's husband, what's Dawn's last name?
Meehan.
Yeah, Dawn Meehan's husband was in an interview, and he was talking about when they were all in the hotel and they knew that somebody was going to get a knock on their door and get sent home.
Right.
And they were scared the whole night. And the next morning, it was whoever's family was not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so Trish knows, because she knows the game, she knows that her family, after the night before, was on their way home on an airplane instead of being with her. Oh, man.
I was this close to my family. And
yeah. Oh, man, I love it.
And Cass is talking about seeing her husband. How nice.
Yes, gosh. Spencer, first time I've seen emotion from you when you lost. Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah. He's like the most emotional person out there.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch that. I mean, I didn't really understand that. I think he was just bringing up another Spencer moment, putting it back on him, bringing up a topic. But Spencer's emotional when he wins and when he loses.
Yeah. I like how Spencer plays. Even during the travel, he's again explains to Tony why he should take him and not vote him out.
Which is another side of Spencer. Probst never expected. We never expected the never say die, never quit Spencer underdog, which makes him that much more respected and likable.
Yeah. So anything else about that before? Oh, there's so much strategy talk at this tribal. I don't even know. I didn't even write it all down. But I remember thinking, wow, there is so much strategy talk going on.
I went back on this because this was like the first time I remember Tony going, what? Or going, oh, snap. As in something actually came up that he didn't catch until it was brought up.
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, Spencer brought up that said, look, if I go, Cass is going to – Cass, who will you take? And Cass says, well, I have a better chance against Wu. And Tony does almost the double take saying, oh, you're not taking me? Oh. He looks at Spencer, and Spencer's like, hello, you're next.
Yeah.
She's not getting rid of Wu. She now has a challenge win. He now has a challenge win. You ain't got no wins. One of those two has a better odds of winning if I'm gone, and you're not going with them.
Right.
Oh, snap. This idol is good for Final 3, too, just so y'all know.
Yeah. I just had a thought. Did you see my hair go crazy when I had a thought?
I saw the hairs come together like this.
Yeah, exactly. The cells in my brain came back from their vacation.
The Red Bull split has come back together.
Yes. And I just had a thought. Even if Tony didn't have bluffed them, even if he had not bluffed them on that idol, they still would have voted out Spencer.
At this point in the game, absolutely, because Cass was very adamant about it. Tony was never even mentioned about trying to flush it or play it.
Right.
There's no flush at that point anyway, but you're right, yeah.
If Spencer had won the challenge and had immunity, then I think more talk would have happened about the idol, and they probably would have figured out that it was not playable, and I don't think Tony's ruse would have worked.
I think if Spencer had won, I think Wu would have gone. I know Spencer would have gone after Tony. I agree, but I think Tony has to take Cass, and I think he would have gone after Wu, and I think Cass would. Well,
okay, yeah, but
who knows at that point?
Cass would have had to vote it out either Tony or Wu, and I think she'd vote out Tony.
You're probably right, because if she was telling the truth at that tribal council saying I could probably beat Wu, then yes.
Yeah.
They could have gone after Tony if he didn't have the idol, but I think with him having the idol, I don't think they take the chance and they send Wu.
Right. So my point being, I don't know how much of the fooling them with the idol really played into it, because I don't think he was really a target at Final Four with Spencer not having immunity.
Unfortunately, we'll never know.
Yeah. Sergio, is it Bicus? Says Tony equals Sandro winning the game without a single immunity necklace.
Almost. He's halfway there. Sandro won 2 games without winning any individual immunities over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But yes, he does. He does match that record of never winning an immunity challenge and still winning the game.
Will wants us to be clear. Tony made the right call. He voted out Spencer at Final Four. It would have been a mistake to force a 2-2 tie for a number of reasons. I'm just talking about what Spencer could have done to fight for his life.
Oh, we can coulda, woulda, shoulda all night long.
Yeah, right, Will. Come on. You only get one chance to talk to the jury, buddy.
And that's 6 paragraphs for you, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't decided if I'm going to read your It's Official, Tony is my favorite survivor. I haven't decided if I'm reading that or not. I mean, especially if you're just going to go back on, what you're saying.
Especially if it's going to be midnight when we get to that point. So
yeah. So a great tribal council. Tony realizes he's a target, just like you said. It's time to vote. And why did Tony do this? Why did Tony do the whole "now that I fooled you, I want to show you that I fooled you" thing with his idol thing? Didn't he do that? Yeah, I wrote Tony shows his hand.
He did. I think he did it for the jury. I think he did it to show them how hard he's playing the game.
Yeah.
And he could have done it to rub it in Spencer's face, but at the same point, I think he just did it to show I'm not sitting here like somebody wants to take me to the end. I am working my way to stay in the game. And I thought that's what he did.
I think you're right. I haven't seen Tony play at all this whole season where he does stuff just to upset people.
Right.
You know, I haven't really got that from him. I think it was more of, and I don't know. I'm not in his brain, and I'm not anxious, but I'm looking forward to hearing why. But I really think, just like you said, he did it to say, okay, everybody, this play is over. I want to explain what I did. And because he's playing a game, it's all strategical. He said every movie made was always strategical.
Like I told Steve, Tony's like the Russians in Red October. Russians don't take a dump without a plan. And just like when he got, come on, I love that line. That's Fred Dalton Thompson. They even when he got the idol validated, he did it because they all thought he had a fake idol. So that's why he got it validated, whether he played it or not. He got it validated by Probst because they all thought he had a fake idol.
Yeah.
So everything he does is for a reason.
Wait, they thought he had a fake idol?
Yes, because he was telling him it was fake, and they were telling each other that he had a fake idol. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard in the interview.
Earlier in the season, or
earlier in the season when it first came out.
Earlier, okay.
Yeah, earlier. I'm sorry. When he went up to Probst and said, "Can you validate this idol for me?" Yeah. Way early in the season. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mike K says more winners with a perfect voting record. Tina in Outback, Ethan in Africa, Brian in Thailand, Amber in All Stars, Tom in Palau, Yule in Cook Islands, Todd in China, Poverty in Micronesia.
And this is why I would never be able to pull all that up at the time it took him to type it.
You know what we should have done is what those football commentators do. You know, David, the more winners in a perfect voting record, Tina in Outback, Ethan in Africa, Brian in Thailand, Amber in All Stars. You know, I think even maybe Tom in Palau.
You know, I think Poverty was one too, if I remember correctly.
And, oh yes, Yule in Cook Island.
Yes.
Just came to me. Just thought of it.
From the webpage.
Will has an answer to my question because he didn't think you answered it well enough, apparently. Why did he tell everyone about the special powers of his idol? For the jury, and it was awesome. Yeah, I'm getting the indication that Will really likes Tony.
This is the Survivor Talk with D and D, not D and W.
Anyway, Encyclopedia Mike, the man detective. All right, Mike K knows all. In fact, we really need to have a Mike versus Steve Helling game on the show sometime.
Oh, that would be good. If you thought me against Steve was good, wait, you should see Mike against. Of course, me and Steve was non-survivor, thank goodness, because he would have leveled me off the show.
But the fun thing is Mike would say, no, your answer's wrong because you used incorrect English. I am sorry, Steve, but that does not count because that pronoun was not used properly.
Move on.
I love him. Mike, you know how much we love you, man. You really do. All right, back to the audience again, talking to Spencer's mom. How cool was that?
That was pretty. That I didn't mind. There were some parts I did mind. In fact, I agree with Mike Egan, who sent in a feedback about it, but that part I liked. Yeah. He's a Final Four. Give him a few minutes for his mom.
Yeah. So what'd y'all think whenever you saw he was on the game? Oh, after we dropped him off, we told him, you're going home first.
That's why it was so good.
Thanks, Mom. That's like Dad. That's like my dad going, I don't listen to your podcast. Why would I listen to your podcast? I hate the show. It's stupid. Survivor. It's on.
It's still on.
Yeah. Survivor is just scripted. It's all in a big sound stage with fake islands.
And see, that mom question went a little better than Colton's mom question.
Yes.
From One World. So Probst is going, man, I'm glad that question worked out better.
He probably asked, okay, look, what are you going to say when I ask you this question?
Exactly. Just like a jury question, he asked them ahead of time.
Never ask a question you don't know the answer to, right?
That's the lawyer's creed.
Never ask a question you don't know. Yes.
Right, Will? That's the lawyer's creed. Don't ask a question unless you know the answer.
So before you ask his mom something, you better know the answer. So anyway. Oh, I loved how Tyler Perry, yeah, go ahead, blame it all on me since you don't like the idol anymore. I like that.
Gosh, what a turnaround. Probst talked about it before the season, about Tyler Perry texted me, and then it's like, if you want to blame somebody, here he is.
Yeah. Oh, and how about name dropping? Yeah, I was sleeping about 2:30 in the morning. I get all these texts from Tyler Perry. I was like, oh, it's Tyler Perry.
So what did you think about what he said about who finds the idol? I mean, he was not happy that I'm like, let's show a little. Well, instead of saying the correct thing as it was for anybody to find. Boy, I did not want that guy to find it. I didn't come up with that idol to help him. I wanted to help the underdog.
Yes.
And I'm surprised he didn't call mid-season and pull it back.
All right. It's not fair when you ask a question to the audience and then turn on the applause light, right? That's just not fair. Okay, y'all, what if Spencer had found the idol? Applause light. Yeah!
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Spencer gave props to Tony, man. He said Tony searched and searched for hours and hours and hours for that idol, and I did not search nearly as long as Tony did.
Yep. So. Exactly.
Will says, y'all need to make up your minds. Do you want me to comment or not? Oh, stop being so sensitive, Will. Just make your comments.
If we didn't want you to comment, we wouldn't read them.
Right. If we can't mess with you, Will, then just, hello. All right. Back at camp. Cass, things went as planned. Woo, I'm over it. They're all depressed. They're all like laying around camp. Crud, man, we're in the final 3.
But it's kind of neat, though. I know. We're still here. Spencer's probably eating steak by now.
Yeah.
But it's kind of neat, though. Each time they come back, hey, final 4. Next time, hey, final 3. And it's neat. That's what you should be doing. You made it 3 more days or 1 more day, whatever it is at the end. I'm like, you should be celebrating. But, yeah, they came back kind of...
Dun, dun, dun. We're in the final 3. Poor little me. They have to do another challenge.
Another challenge. Make it a simple one. Can we just write down each other's family names or something?
Don't you know, if Spencer had been there, he'd been like, well, yeah, hello. We knew it was a final 2. What's up with y'all? Cheer up.
Exactly.
So, they're all depressed. And Woo even says, I'm over it. I'm over it, dude. Both Woo and Tony, Cass says both Woo and Tony think they can beat me. This is where Cass and Woo do the whole you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the you take me, I'll take you.
Right.
Little conversation. Is this where we get Woo saying I would be a frickin' idiot to take Tony to the final 2?
It's either here or right after the challenge. But yeah, this is in the general same day probably as when Woo said I would be the dumbest survivor or stupidest survivor to ever take Tony to the final.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And since he said it,
hey,
you know there was a chance.
I didn't say it. Woo said it.
Exactly.
Right? Woo said it. So, is he the stupidest player to take Woo? Well, Woo says he is.
Well, he's not the stupidest player to take Woo. Stupidest player to take Tony.
Sorry.
But yes, okay. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Back to the olden days. Okay, David. Let's take that again. Here I go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So is Woo stupid for taking Tony to the finals? Woo says he is.
Is that the worst move and worst decision in Survivor? Is that as bad as giving away an idol right before they vote you out?
No. How about being the only guy and giving your idol to the pretty girls? That was stupid.
Thank you very much.
That was stupid, man.
Because Woo was not taking himself out of the final. He was actually making his job harder. But I still think Woo felt he was trying to get points. He was probably listening to Cass and Tony talk about how they could beat him, and thinking, how am I going to get points for this? I mean, do I take the person I can beat? Do I take the easy way out and turn on my friend, or do I stay loyal, stay in my alliance and take the guy that's gotten me this far? I've gotten him this far. It might be the Jervis thing. He kind of felt like he had more of a part of it than just following Tony. When, according to what we saw, he didn't.
I just think he felt like according to what he says, and we all saw this, the more honorable thing is to beat the better player, and he thought Tony was better, and it was honorable because he didn't break any of his 5 codes. So if I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose to the better player than win to the lesser player.
So that's
really feel like that's what he thought.
So that's like running a race and letting the other person catch all the way up to the finish line before you beat them.
Just so you can have a good race at the end, which is why Andy Baker just thinks Woo is ridiculous. He was not playing the game. I don't remember exactly what he said.
He called him an insult to the game.
Yeah, an insult to the game. That's an Andy Baker quote. Andy Baker. the baker's dozen.
I mean, I'm sorry, and I know we take flack for getting on Wu, but 39 days, and the last day you make the decision that makes you honorable and not win the game. Why are you
not only that? Yeah, not only that, he makes the decision that he himself said would make it a stupid mistake. He said it himself. I would be the stupidest player in Survivor history if I took Tony to the end. And then he did it. And then he did that.
Exactly.
All right, enough of that. Where are we?
We're heading to a challenge, I think.
We're heading to the challenge, yeah. I'll tell you where we are. We're an hour and a half into the show.
Huge.
This
challenge was a But you know, and I'm going to give Dalton credit here for making this comment first.
I know.
If you look at the challenge before, where they had to build the ladders and climb up and do the slide puzzle, and then you look at the challenge earlier in the episode, where they had to pull up the buckets of water, pour down the chute, get the key, get the puzzle pieces. And here comes another challenge where the first few rounds almost don't mean anything if you can't do a puzzle. You know, why did Tony need such a big lead? He was never going to finish that slide puzzle. You know, why did Spencer need such a big lead? He was never going to beat Kaz in that puzzle. It's almost like the first couple parts of the challenges don't really mean much. They're just there to wear you out. I mean, you know, and then somebody just shows up and does a puzzle in no time whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm with Dalton on this. I want the endurance challenge. I want the who wants to win more. I'm not talking about putting them on that floating doghouse out in the water because that's a small feat challenge or a good balance challenge. I'm talking about a pole. I'm talking about more. A buoy. Right. I'm just talking about endurance, and I want that for the final challenge.
Last person with your hand on the Chevy gets the Chevy.
There you go.
You know, it's that kind of challenge. Probst basically told Dalton that ain't happening anytime soon.
Yep.
You read his interview with Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically said that's not happening. Okay, so now that we both agree on that.
Now, and something else that came up in that same interview was the fact that it went from a 3 to a 2 because of Lindsay. Did you read that?
Yes. They were going to do a final 3, but with Lindsay going out.
I'm wondering if the challenges got adjusted, something came up different or changed. But to explain, if you haven't read it, to explain, I think Probst said there's not enough time in the day to do a 24-hour challenge. You know, they got to get challenges done in a certain amount of time. They like finish lines, not time periods. You know, just for editing reasons.
Right. Okay. So having said that about what we wish would have happened,
yes,
that was a pretty awesome sight. I mean,
it was.
That thing was like the size of a football field.
That was.
And they had the disadvantage. They were only like 2 feet above the, you know, their eye level is 2 feet above. Right. Where we're seeing it from on top. Man, that is hard to go. I've never been in a maze like that because I'm not a mouse, but that looked hard.
Speaking of mouses, that was a line at Disney World. That's all that was the Space Mountain line to get into Disney World or something with bad turnstiles.
Yes.
That was so funny. But I love that part.
Wrote, it's not mouses, it's mice. No, he didn't, but I'm just... No, but you're right. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's like when the Six Flags or Disneyland opens up a new ride. You know, here, come to the park, pay $80 to wait 4 hours in a line.
Yes.
With the fun, and you always, okay, we're getting off topic, but you know, you are stuck with whoever you're stuck with in line. So you keep passing the same sweaty grandma, you know, who didn't wear enough clothing.
Yes.
And stinks, you know.
At least make it someone I could say hi to or talk about football with or something, but now it's somebody that you're not going to talk to.
Yeah. All right, so back to the challenge, though.
Now, did you like not Cliff, I'm reading Will's comment. Did you write Tony and Woo's idea of following each other? I mean, kind of keeping it...
I don't think they talked about that. I think Woo was just following Tony.
Well, then, I mean, but it's you're right, because the last time out, Tony didn't follow Woo and got there behind Woo.
My thought was, if I was Tony, I'd be like, stop following me. You know? Or part of me would want to just stop and say, okay, you go. I'll go somewhere else. You know, stop following me. I don't want you to... Because, okay, so what happens if Woo follows Tony everywhere, and then they both get to the puzzle at the same time? Woo wins.
Right.
So if I'm Tony, get off my back. Stop tailing me.
Or take Woo down a dead end and let Cass win. Because Cass wants to take Tony. Or, no, we don't know at that point. You know, she talks about beating Woo. So I mean, that's the scary thing. But the funny thing is, to me, I'm almost thinking during that challenge, why would Cass even hurry? It's almost like Richard Hatch at the final of Borneo. They're going to take both of them are going to take Cass to the end, no matter who wins.
Right.
They're taking Cass to the end. So I mean, I can understand that. I don't know who told us. Some of the survivors have told us you never throw a challenge. I mean, you never quit on a immunity challenge. You always want to win. You always want to be there. But if I'm Cass, I'm thinking, these guys are taking me. Either one of these guys are going to take me to the end.
Right.
So I'm just going to do it, keep my pace up, and at the end, she saw where she could win and make her own pick, and she went for it.
Right.
A half second too late.
Well, Wu's winning of this challenge lost the game for him.
Absolutely.
Because I mean it happened. He lost the game because of two moves. One was taking Tony, but before that, you would have never thunk it. But he lost because he won this challenge. If he had not won this, then it would have been him and Cass at the final.
Right.
And now, granted, we can't completely trust the whole who would you have voted for because you don't get to hear Cass's closing arguments and someone, standing up for her and all that kind of stuff. Probably she would not have won, but I don't know. But Wu theoretically could have won if he hadn't won that immunity challenge because then he wouldn't have been put in a position to be all honorable and blow up his game.
Good point. Good point.
If I'm him, I'm like, crud, I wish I hadn't won that after the fact. So,
okay, I'm going to read Will's comment this time. He says, no, Wu's not the stupidest survivor of all time. He's not even the stupidest survivor of the season. Garrett says hi.
That's mean.
But he also says, where did all of this Wu is playing the honorable game stuff come from anyway? Didn't he agree with Sarah to blindside Uncle Cliffy? Didn't he blindside LJ and Jeffra? Yeah, because he was being aligned with Tony. I mean, he's being down to his alliance. He understood that not everybody could win, but when it came down to making the biggest decision of the game, he went with the honorable decision and made the mistake.
Cass told Parvati that the thing about Wu is whoever spoke to him last is what Wu was going to do. That pretty much Wu was going to do whatever the last person said. Tony got to him last. She said, I wasn't even surprised. She said, if you look at the vote, and when they vote me out, did I look surprised? I wasn't surprised because Wu was going to do what Tony said because Tony got to him last.
And Tony probably kept him out in the woods all day talking to him. No, you don't need to talk to her. She's just going to tell you something you can't believe.
Yeah.
But like Tony said, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear.
Yeah.
But I kind of, when Probst said, one great thing about this season, I've never seen so many people that came out to win. And I'm like, yeah, Spencer, Cass, well, not Wu, but Tony and others. I'm like, I'm sorry. I like the guy. He's probably a super guy. He's great with kids. He can do a kick that would knock me on my feet. But by picking Tony, he did not come to win. I'm sorry.
Right. He did not come to win. Yeah. Is this? No. No, Seth, it's not. But we know some of it.
No, I have to refresh.
The chat for Survivor Know-It-Alls. No, that was last night. But welcome to the show. It's a fun show. We hope you hang around. All right? You can ask anything you want, and we'll talk about it. So, Janice Tillery wants Mike K on the show. Does Mike K want to get on Survivor? I don't remember.
Oh, I think she means on this show.
Oh, on this show? I thought she meant Survivor. All right. So, back at camp, Tony... Okay, if I'm Wu, I'm like, and Tony goes, you're going to be a very busy man today. I'm like, you know what? Can y'all just leave me alone? I don't want to do this. Tony, no. I mean, you got Tony in your left ear. You got Tony in your right ear. It's going to be a long afternoon for Mr. Wu.
So if you're out there and you're Wu, I'm thinking I want to get this conversations over with now and then go sit with my rocks and think about it for 2 or 3 hours, versus say, let's just don't talk right now. It's kind of like one of those things of eating the bad part of the meal first. Let's get it over with. The sooner you eat it, the sooner it's gone, you know, and Wu, and like Cass said, Wu's impressionable, so he's going to want to listen, and I honestly believe Wu wanted both arguments. He wanted to hear what they thought was best for him, whether he believed him or not, and I sincerely think he was listening to every word and taking everything, and when it came down to it, Tony appealed to his honorable side.
Right.
And said, if you want to get the points for being honorable and taking your alliance, then I'm the one you want to take.
Yeah. I would have taken you. Lie. I was honorable. Lie.
Because then Tony knows how to turn around and say, Woo, I didn't take you because I can't beat you, brother.
Yeah.
You are too liked and too nice. And Woo would say, fair enough, dude.
Yeah. It's all right, man. Peace.
It's all good. Long as you're winning, man.
Catch the wave. You know, honestly, y'all should vote for Tony. He didn't say that, but and I like what Tony says. Should he take me? Heck no, he should take Cass.
He's honest to the cameraman.
I'd take my chances with Cass. Why would he take me to the end? I'm going to beat him. I almost feel like if I was Woo, I would want to go, okay, look, you each get 30 minutes. Let's flip a coin or flip a rock or whatever. Or let's flip Tony's wife to see who gets to go first.
Even better, and you might be thinking this too, but even better, do it at camp where both of them are present. We don't walk off. You two go face-to-face right now and tell me why I should take you to the final.
Oh, that'd be fun.
As Woo sits back.
Yeah.
Go.
No, here's Woo. All right, you go get me some rice. You go get me some coconut. You rub my feet. You rub my back. And y'all tell me why I should take you to the final.
Or it's like Woo said. It's a fight. And 5 minutes later, Tony goes, you take me because she can't get up anymore.
Yeah. Right, y'all are going to arm wrestle. We're going to do it the honorable way.
You take me because she needs a medevac.
But my point is he didn't take control of this. He let them control him. He let Cass determine when she was going to talk to him. He let Tony determine when Tony was going to talk to him. It didn't seem like he took control of this at all. He just let it happen. And I would be more inclined to say, this is the way this afternoon's going to work.
It's not what you imagine the necklace wearer to do or to have. It was not the edit that we thought we would see from somebody like that, from somebody like Tyson or Boston Rob that's dealing with the final two.
Yeah.
That you would think of they would be dictating everything.
Right.
And it just didn't seem to happen that way. This is something I want to ask Kaz and Tony, or especially Kaz. We got Tony's, but I don't know if we got all of Kaz. What did you say to Woo to try and convince him to take you to the final?
Yeah. So let's see. Tony, Cass and Woo. Tony has said he wanted to take me all along. Why would that change now? She had a good argument.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Woo, Tony has said all along that I'm the one to take to the final two. Why would he change that now?
Remember who he swore on? Go back to last week. You saw last week's episode 3 days ago. You saw what he did, what he said.
Yeah. You are like Fabio, and I would vote for Tony. Which I got to admit, if I'm that guy, I don't want to hear I'm going to vote for the other person.
Right. Just like what Spencer and Tasha said weeks ago. If I'm on the jury, I'm voting for Tony.
Yes, that's what they said. Maybe maybe Cass should have brought that up. Hey, remember a couple of episodes ago, or a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, when Spencer and Tosh both said, hey, I'm voting for Tony. You've got 2 votes there and mine. That's 3 against you already. You've got to convince the other 4.
I would be willing to bet that her being the thorough attorney that she could be, that she went through the entire jury and said, this vote's Tony, and went down every vote and said, all these people are voting for Tony. You need to see that if you want to win the game. She probably even told him, if you take Tony, you're not wanting to win the game. Why are you here?
Yeah. So Woo talks to the camera. Taking Tony means my chances of winning are not so great. But taking Cass means I contradict who I am. I become a hypocrite, a.k.a. he's not playing the game. He's playing life, not the game. And I wrote down, I think he's going to take Tony. So
I didn't. I just didn't know until that moment. I thought he was waking up, and when I saw what we're about to talk about, I flipped.
Yeah. How about tribal council? Jeff goes, so Woo, how about the honorable, loyal Tony?
Is he a judge now?
Yeah. I kind of, what's that in your earpiece? Woo wants to be honorable? Okay. Woo, what do you think about Tony being so honorable? He points out Tony's loyalty to Woo, and Woo thinks Tony was being loyal. He's wrong. Right. Tony has not been loyal. So, anyway, Tony plays the loyalty card.
If she could have, Cass would have said, can we poll the jury? Because I can tell you right now what's going to happen if you take Tony.
Yes.
But she was, she was thinking, no, Tony talked to him last. This is not going to go well.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. She told Poverty she knew she wasn't going to the final two.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew it. Will says, let's all agree, Woo's, let's call it naivety. Oh, how do you say that?
Naivety.
Yes. Saved us from a very distasteful final. It could have and should have been Woo beating Cass in the end. Thank you, Woo, for giving the season ending it deserved. Yeah, we said that earlier.
And saving us from the wrath of Mike and Cleveland.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
It is a good thing I know Mike well enough to not be upset by him. It's all good, Mike and Cleveland.
Mike is like our Cass.
Yeah. You know what's funny is every once in a while I'll get on YouTube and I'll watch dash cams, worst wrecks of 2014.
Yeah.
Like that. And there's always these big old 18-wheelers driving 90 miles an hour in the snow, and I'm going, Mike in Cleveland. He drives these trucks. He better not watch this video because it's just flat out scary. And next time my son wants to buy a motorcycle, I watched one today called the worst or the luckiest motorcycle riders. Oh my gosh. Oh. Anyway, Anyway, all right, back to Tribal Council. Woo's like, hey, this is great. Jeff asked Woo a question and was, can I change the subject? Sure. Can we just vote now, please?
Is that what you meant to say? Because that's kind of the same subject.
Yeah. I'd like to just go ahead and vote. I don't want to, answer your questions.
And, this is where I thought he was going to vote Tony out because, to me, it was like, can I just take the pill? Can I just take the medicine and get it over with? I don't want to talk about this anymore. If I do it now, it won't hurt as much, or the hurt will go away quicker. And I really thought he was going to send Tony away.
Yeah.
The way he was acting. Why would he care about that with Cass? Why wouldn't he? I'm sorry, but this is somebody that did not take advantage of this tribal council to make his case to the jury.
Right.
This could have been the first spot he could have started making his case for making big moves and explaining why he did what he did, and he might have missed a chance here.
I agree.
Thank you.
As I was looking at my phone, I apologized. I was distracted. You know what happens when I do that with my wife? Why don't you care enough to pay attention to me?
Oh, I got that tonight too. I made a mistake. My daughter, my college daughter, the future doctor.
What?
I was asking her, Gracie, my net ninja, fell on her thumb or something last night in the game, and it was big swollen. It didn't bother her when she had the glove on, but when she took the glove off, she's like, okay, yeah, it's swollen. She got it wrapped, and I asked Bailey tonight, and I said, how's Gracie's thumb? What do you think? Should we take her to the doctor? And she starts telling me, and I thought she was finished. And my phone buzzed, and I picked up my phone.
Bad boy.
Well, if you're not going to listen to me, then don't ask my opinion.
Ooh! Oh! See, when they turn 20, they can just talk to you however they want.
And she was right. I should not have picked the phone up because I thought she was.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that your end or mine?
It just said that the show ended because of a server error, but we're still live. So
I got the same message.
Wow. All right. Well, we're still live. Whew. That scared me. Should still be one video. Hope so.
It was probably Bailey cutting us off.
Yeah. Bailey's like, I'll show you, Dad.
Pick up your phone again.
Yeah. So, well, let's get back to Tribal Council. So they vote. Cass is voted out, and I wrote it's going to be Tony. Tony's going to win.
You know what I thought? I thought I'm so glad I threw all my points on Tony.
Yes. Yeah, I am a little nervous about our Survivor Fantasy Pool game, or our Survivor Fantasy game, because
Fantasy Challenge, yes.
Yeah, our Fantasy Challenge, which has been a lot of fun. We've gotten several emails from people that have talked about, how much fun they had with the Survivor Challenge. I can't wait to do it again next season.
Thank you for doing that with us. We're really glad that y'all did because we loved it. We've already started making new rules for next season and stuff to do. It's going to be so much fun. And thanks again to Shayna. But, man, the Fun Office pools, I can't wait to cover that.
Yeah, I know, you jerk. All right, so back at camp. Okay, Woos. This was my power move, my big power move. I had to be able to make this move in order to win the game. This was my power move. How is that a power move?
It's not a power move, and that's the problem.
It's not a power move.
I was waiting for Tony to go to the confessional and go, he made one. I made all these power moves.
Yes.
Because he likes to do the hands and the counts. I made all these moves. He's got one. And his one was horrible. Yeah. It was the worst power move he could have made.
Well, I don't even think it was a power move, but anyway. So tree mail, they get food. Tony finds a clue. I love it. There's the final two. Tony finds a clue, and he's like, I ain't showing Woo. You know.
I know. Here we go again.
How awesome was that? Not only does he find all the idols, he finds the hidden mirrors.
I'm thinking, just to let you know, this clue is just to let you know the game has one more week to go. Mm-hmm. You are not going to Final Tribal. Yes. We're bringing back 2 more players. And they're going to be competing.
Yeah, he's like, man, I'm still playing the game. I go back in game mode. Don't know what it could be, but anyway, so it's a mirror, and he calls Woo over.
So then Woo says, where'd you get the mirror? Oh, I was just walking, cleaning up my spy shack.
All right, so they go to tribal council. Power shifts to the jury. Opening statements.
Yes.
Basically, Tony's was everything I did was for strategy.
Yep, nothing emotional, and I want the chance to say that.
All right.
Ask me. I want you to ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I'm going to be truthful and tell you everything I did.
Right.
And I'm thinking, no, save that for our podcast.
Yeah.
Don't tell the jury.
You're going to tell us exclusive stuff. Don't tell everybody.
That's right.
I don't care if Poverty asks you. Don't answer her. And I know Tony's got to talk to a lot of people before us, but we're going to get him for a long time.
Yep.
We're going to talk to him about all kinds of stuff. All right, so Woo basically says, I live by 5 codes, and my mom had a heart attack, so let me win. Am I being too pessimistic here, or whatever the word is?
I think his argument was good in the beginning. I think it was good for him. I thought he just went a little too far with the mom thing. I really felt like the jury was going, we're sorry, but...
See, I think that might help him in some respects. Yeah, I already don't like Tony too much. Oh, and his mom had a heart attack. Like the mom in Bob's Burgers. Oh, Woo.
Yeah, but at the same point, I think these people are bitter because they've been sitting for a couple weeks, and they don't want to hear a sob story. They want to hear flat out, even if Woo said, I let him make all the moves, so he's got all the blood on his hands, and I'm here because I survived, and I came at the last challenges, and I won, and that's why I think I should be the winner, and instead of appealing to their softer side. Whereas Tony's saying, I ain't got nothing emotional. It's all strategy. I did all this because this is how I knew I had to do to win the game. Right. Whereas Woo's saying, let me win because I'm in a bad state. And Tony's saying, I should win because I won the game. I played the game and controlled the game.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So do you want to talk about? Then they go back to Poverty, Jeff and Poverty, and Poverty says, "I'd vote for Tony."
I like Woo, but I'd vote for Tony.
Yeah. And again, Jeff talks about come back for the conclusion of one of the best seasons we've ever had.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about what each of the people said, starting with Sarah? Or just kind of any highlights?
I understood what Sarah meant, and I don't think Tony thinks any less of his badge, but at the same time, I think his lieutenant summed it up. Tony went out there to do a job. He didn't take anything from home. He created his family out of rocks, but when it comes down to it, Tony was going to do whatever Tony had to do to win the game for Tony. It's all about Tony. I'm sorry that you felt lied to, but he's sitting there and you're not because he made the plays before you did. It's a game. It's not life.
Yeah. Tony told Poverty, again, I'm sorry. Tony told Poverty, look, when I'm in the force, when I'm out on the street, when I'm in real life, I offer up my life for my badge.
Mm-hmm.
That is my commitment to my badge, not some game like Survivor. My badge doesn't mean anything in a game like Survivor. I risk my life every day for my badge. That is honoring the badge. So.
Right.
But no, Sarah really did not like that.
But she still voted for him.
Did she? Who voted against him?
Well, I'll be honest, and Mike K can probably correct me on this, but they only showed us one Wu vote. If there was been a second one, we should have seen 2 Tony, 2 Wu.
There was not a second. He won 8-1.
Tasha's the only one that
Tasha
voted
did?
for Wu. Yeah, so everybody else voted for Tony.
Interesting. All right, what about Jeffra? I'm not bitter, but Tony, own up to everything. Well, Tony, why didn't you just own up to everything? Just tell her what she wants to hear.
I thought he did. I do.
He kept saying it, but she wasn't. That's not what she wanted to hear. It was very obvious from her body language that that's not what she wanted. She didn't want to know how you didn't blindside her or whatever, or how she deserved to get voted out. She just wanted you to own up to everything. You should have just owned up to it.
But I'll be honest, I don't think she knows what own up to it means because she kept asking for it. And I thought he kept saying that I did it. I did it all for strategy. I made moves before people did for me.
Right.
And in fact, later when he talks to the other jurors, he actually owns up to what he did to each of them.
True. But what he would say to her is, I will own up to everything, but I didn't lie to you, or but I didn't betray you. Because you were going to vote against me. What I did for you, he kept trying to defend his action with her, and she didn't want any defending action. She just wanted him to own up to the way he played.
But to me, there's a big difference in how you talk to Jeffra and how you talk to Spencer, or how you talk to Tasha. Completely different people, completely different mindset. She's hurt. I voted you out because I had intel, which I think is what he said. I had trusting intel that you were going to flip, and I couldn't trust that. And not for my game. So, yeah, I own up to voting you out because I thought you were going to flip to the other side. Well, you swore on this and swore on that. Well, I swore on my badge to her.
Right.
And you saw how far that got her. She flipped on me, too. She was not voting with me. She was voting with them. So I voted against her. And I got the same impression from you. And he didn't say it as eloquently as I just did. But I thought he owned up to it. And to be honest, I didn't think she got the impression of what own up means. She was bitter. I understand she was bitter. But this brings up another point, and I'll make it now because we're going to get to more bitterness. I wonder, we already covered the fact that they likely go into the jury and say, what are your questions going to be? We want to put you guys in a proper order for editing purposes and ratings or whatever it is.
Right.
And I don't know who may have suggested it. If it was, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just hypothesizing. I'm just guessing, fantasizing maybe. You know what? We shouldn't make it too obvious that we're all going to vote for Tony. We need to throw some bitter bites at Tony. We need to make him feel, make the audience feel. Editing says we need to make them feel, that's our job, that you might not be voting for Tony.
Oh, yeah.
And this
Prime
is
example,
absolutely,
Trish.
Yeah, this is absolutely what we need you guys to do. We need you to tear down Tony.
Yeah.
And maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was somebody in the jury. We talked about a jury foreman, having a say over the jury, and we've heard that from other survivors, and maybe somebody said, hey, let's don't make it obvious. They want us to work this. They want it to come out even, look even. So I'm going after Tony. You guys should go after Tony too. Even if you respect him and like him, you should go after him and make him say all that stuff.
Right. I almost feel like and a great example of that is what Trish did.
Yeah.
It's almost like she wasn't mad at him anymore, but that gave her the opportunity to, I'm not saying I don't know, but it was going to get on TV.
Right.
Right. And it made Tony nervous, but she had every intention of voting for Tony.
And all she had to tell the producers was, I'm going to ask him if it was worth the $1 million to swear on his dead father.
Right.
And they said, oh, there you go. That's what you need to ask him. That's what we want to
Yeah.
hear.
How about Morgan?
She's pretty.
Yeah. How did you get these men to follow you and you don't have the same things I have?
You don't have the assets that I have. Yeah. What did he say? I don't even know what he said.
I don't even know, but
it's like you watching a poverty interview. You don't know who she's talking to.
No, that's not true. That's not true for me with her. And then, look, we know Morgan does not like Cass because of what she told Colton whenever she got home.
Yeah.
But so she uses her question to Wu as an opportunity to make a poke at Cass. So there you go. Jeremiah, again, like you said, to try to make it sound more dramatic than it is.
I don't mean to put the guy down, but I think his question sounded better in his head or at Ponderosa than it did coming out.
Yeah. That is pathetic and pitiful.
See, it's just kind of seemed to go around and round and round.
Yeah.
I wasn't I don't know.
And Jeremiah, woo, do you want to be a millionaire?
Yeah.
No? Oh, crud. I was going to vote for you. Well, all right.
But it's funny because this was more great editing, and we talked about it today on Facebook, that there's about this point where Tony's just getting hammered and hammered and hammered, and they're saying, Woo, why did you bring Tony? I did it for this reason, to be honorable. And they show Tony, and he's looking at the ground like, am I losing this game? This is not happening. You just the look on his face. It's like the look that he had when he got surprised at the previous tribal council, if he really got surprised. Right. But the look on his face is almost like he's deflating. It's like when we scored a goal last night against a team that thought they were going to beat us. They deflated, and Tony's just sitting there looking down like, how am I losing this game? I can't be losing. There's no way I'm losing this game, but it feels like I'm losing this game. I was like, hang in there, buddy. Hang in there, man. Yeah. It's going to come.
I love what Tony said to LJ. LJ, I voted you out. I was scared to death of you, man.
Petrified.
Yes. I love that.
And that's him owning up to the game. You know, of course, he didn't tell him. He didn't say, well, I did trick you into saying to breaking your promise first, but he didn't tell him that. But, hey, and that's what you tell people. That's what he should have told Trish as well.
Yeah. And then you got Tony, Tasha, who was before LJ, but still. Tony, you managed to keep a loyal group of people, how, which gave him an opportunity to explain that.
Exactly.
And then she says to Wu, how did you choose Tony? And it was, interesting because Wu hasn't always been with Tony.
Right.
Wu kind of like took the whenever Lindsay left, Wu was like, uh-oh, Cliff's gone and Lindsay's gone.
Yeah.
Who am I going to grab onto?
Right. Yeah, when Cliff left, he was looking around. Then he saw Lindsay and Trish get into it, and he's like, ooh, yeah, I need to find somebody else.
Now, did you catch Tasha's, like, that doesn't make any sense, Wu, right before she... What was that about? Do you remember? Oh, he just lost his earphone.
Sorry. I unplugged my ears when I went to go, yes, I did.
Yes, well, tell me about that. Yes, you did.
Well, she did. I don't even remember his answer, but I don't think it got to the end of the question that she asked, and she looked at him like, okay, if your answer to the question I asked, okay.
It was definitely one of those... Okay.
And then she voted for him. So maybe I need to go back and listen to that answer.
Maybe we do. Oh, well. I almost think that was more of a vote against Tony than for Wu. She had to know Wu wasn't going to win.
It could also have been one of those things at Ponderosa where everybody gets a sense of what's happening, and Tasha says, well, I'm not letting him have a unanimous win.
Yeah.
He heard too many things, yeah.
Or Tasha got the $50 for making it not a unanimous vote. To be able to say Wu once so that Wu won't get too upset.
That's right.
By the way, did you notice Wu's girlfriend was not there? Apparently no engagement and maybe no girlfriend.
You know why?
Why?
Because she knew he wasn't winning the $1 million. I'm sorry. He set me up with a softball. I had to hit it, so that was cool. Yeah. Sorry.
So you got Trish, and all of a sudden the producers changed the music to the sad, somber soundtrack for the Trish moment.
Yes.
Oh, Wu, it was my idea to blindside you. No, Wu said it was my idea to blindside you. Don't blame Tony. Blame me. It was my idea.
So don't give me your vote because Tony has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. She tells, and she tells Tony, I spent the entire game putting out your little fires. I saved your game. You swore on your father's grave. Was it worth it? I love it. Yeah, it was worth it. I'm here.
Yeah, because if I win, my father would have been high-fiving me all the way back to New Jersey.
You know what you want to go? You want to go, you know what? The fact that I swore on my dad's grave has no effect on his grave.
His soul's somewhere else, and his bones are still there.
But I'm about to have $1 million. So, yeah, I don't care that I swore on his grave. I'll swear on your mama's grave.
and if she had paused for any comments, he could have said, yeah, you put out all those fires, you kept everybody together, and that's why you have to sit over there, and I couldn't sit with you here. I'm sorry, but I wanted to win the game for my family. Yeah. The ones that I swore on, Jeremiah, yes, those family is what I did, and I loved his honest answer. If he gave anything else, she wasn't going to believe him. She might have still voted for him, but it would have been right, and he gave the right answer. Yes, it was worth it.
Yes. It was, as a matter of fact.
I was waiting for her to say, would you do it again? And he said, yeah, that's another $1 million.
That's right.
It is a game. It's not life. When I take this buff off and I go hug my family, and I will thank my dad, for being there to allow me to use that if that's what it was. But it's a game.
Yep. All right. So after that, let's see. Spencer says, "Let's do this." Woo, Tony was your master. You were a good little doggy.
Yes.
Just talk to me, David. Did you like Spencer's whole final tribal thing?
I loved it. I thought it was good. I really thought Trish's would have been better at the end until Spencer got up, because he basically told Woo what happened, and then basically I don't need to ask Tony anything because I saw his whole game until like day 38. Or day 37, I saw his whole game, and I said I would vote for him, and I'm going to vote for him. And let me tell you all what you should do. And I loved it because this is another discussion we had on Facebook. And to me, Spencer was saying, if I'm going to lose, it's not going to be to that nice guy right there. It's going to be to that guy that found the idols, kept the alliances, made all the blind sides, and control this game. If I'm going to lose, and I think this comes in some previous seasons with juries, if I'm going to lose, it's going to be to him. It's not going to be to the guy that showed up at day 37.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. I don't remember. It's been done before. I think they said somebody did it for Boston Rob in his season. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great that he turned to the jury, and they looked at him like they were listening, like they were getting it. Like I'm like, so I guess he hadn't had time to say this at Ponderosa.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was great.
He said he was behind every strategic decision. He played with a veracity that we rarely see. He played the game in a way that honors the game. He deserves to win the game. And I think, I just, wow. And that's when I wrote, well, you know why Spencer went last.
He sounded like a Tony superfan that just showed up at Tribal at the last minute and said, let me tell you why you should vote for that guy.
Right. By the way, going back to the whole power move thing, I like what the Seth wrote. He goes, it was Woo's power move because Tony told him it was his power move. Good job, the Seth. Awesome. Applause, applause, applause. I mean, Woo might as well have said, this is my big power move. Tony told me that. Good job, the Seth. I'm going to start calling myself the Dwaine.
The Dwaine.
The David, the Dwaine, the Seth. And this isn't Seth from Alabama. This is a new Seth. I do not know this Seth. He was either kidding about asking if this was the know-it-alls.
No, that's Seth from Alabama.
No, it's not. Seth from Alabama is Seath.
I know, but that's his picture.
Oh, is it that guy? Oh, way to go, Seth. You were just messing with us then.
Yeah.
We thought maybe we actually had somebody that stumbled upon us, a new viewer. But no, it's just Seth.
That's our Seth.
Well, I like Seth. Seth has been very nice to the show and has some ringtones and some wallpapers for his phone to prove it.
And for that, we will call him the Seth.
The Seth. That's right. Well, way to go, the Seth. Seth has a cute little baby. I went to the hospital and met his wife and his in-laws who had no idea why this stranger was in their room. That was odd. You know, I like walk into the room. His wife doesn't know me. His in-laws don't know me. His baby don't know me, of course. But I bought Reese's peanut butter cups, so his wife liked me. And Seth's like, don't even try to explain who you are, just so you're the pastor at some church.
Yeah, so they don't watch Survivor.
Yeah, if they think you're from Survivor, they're gonna get mad at me. So just So I was like, hey, I'm the worship pastor over at Lindsay Lane Baptist Church. That church your son has never gone to. So why would I be here? Because he lives in Coleman, which is an hour away. But I'm still here. They were like, oh, okay.
Hey, post. Can you put up Mike K's last comment about talking to Tasha?
Talk to Tosh. Yeah, here we go. I will need to read it though.
Go for it.
No, I won't. You go ahead and. Well, no, I will need to read it. I talked to Tasha last night. It was hard to hear, but I believe she said she voted for Woo because A, she respected Woo for sticking to his principles, and B, because Woo voted out Cass.
I also think she voted for him because she knew it wouldn't matter. But at the same point, she got her two things out. She respected what he did,
right? And
she that was a vote against Cass. The vote for Woo was a vote against Cass.
Right. Hey, Mike K, did you bring us? I know Mike K brought us up to Tony, and Tony goes, "Yeah, I love those guys." Mike, did you bring us up to anybody else, and did anybody else acknowledge that they knew us or heard our show, feel free to put that, because we're just two guys that they don't know. But it'd be awesome if they knew us. All right, so we get to the vote, and I cannot at the vote, I cannot think of another season where everyone came to play. Did Morgan come to play?
Did Garrett come to play? He probably came to play, but he showed up at the wrong game.
Yeah. David came to play a little too quickly. But hey, he got airtime and Lindsay didn't.
Yep, Lindsay didn't. Bryce didn't.
Yeah.
Alexis didn't.
All dressed up.
Yeah.
Bryce spent a lot of time looking for that.
I was looking for the responses when Jeff said one more question, and he went to so and so or went to David or Garrett. And I could see Bryce and Alexis and Lindsay just going, "Why did we come? Why are we here? Give me my check."
I had a shirt like Bryce's once, but it showed too much cleavage, so I had to return it. By the way, I meant to do this at the beginning of the podcast. But in honor of the survivors having to wear the same underwear all 39 days.
Oh no.
I too have worn the same underwear the entire season.
Which is longer than 39 days.
It is now standing up in my room as an honor. I'm kidding. I didn't really do that.
I don't think you had to say that you were kidding. I hope we would all know.
I finally took it off today, and it's standing in the corner. I put Survivor Cagayan on it. All right, so Tony wins. Woo! On to the reunion. So I'm happy Tony won, and not because I'm happy. I'm happy because, sure, I enjoy talking to Tony, and it was pretty awesome. It's the first time ever for me that the person that won is somebody with whom I have at least some correspondence with. I mean, it's not like Tony talks to us every day and tells us stuff that he shouldn't talk to us about. It's not like that. Mm-hmm. But we've had some correspondence with him, and it's pretty awesome. So that was kind of cool. But really, you know what? He earned it. There's no reason in the world he should have been at that final two, and he was, because of the way he played. He played woo and got to where he needed to be.
Yes.
He earned the win.
I think it's obvious he didn't tell us anything because you had Spencer winning.
Yeah.
And I didn't have Tony until the last minute when I figured, you know what? That's the only way I'm going to get points to beat you is if I throw everything on Tony.
I remember early in the season, whenever we first started corresponding with Tony.
Are you going to tell him how he got me?
No,
I'll tell that one.
All right. And I thought to myself, and you're like, hey, Tony said he would come on our show after the season's over, right? And I was like, oh, great. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, great, we're going to get somebody that gets off in the first 2 weeks and no one's going to care about him at the end of the season. And here he is, the winner.
So then this ball hit a cop from New Jersey. We're direct messaging over Twitter, and he's right around the same time he says, I'd love to come on y'all's show. This was like the second week of the show. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do y'all's show so I can explain things because that's all he kept saying. I really want to explain. I want to tell my side. I'd love to. He said, remember this for after show, and we'll do this. About a week later, before like the third or fourth episode, he goes, do you know how these exit interviews work?
Oh, that was mean.
Do you know how many I have to do before I could come on or all this kind of stuff? And I'm thinking, Dwaine, I just got the message from Tony I didn't want to hear. You're right. We're going to get this guy that doesn't even make it to the shuffle.
No one's going to know who he is.
Then about 3 weeks later, I said, you jerk. And he just goes, ha, 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 all the way across the screen.
Yeah.
I said, you're still playing the game. He says, always, brother. Always.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him. I'd love to talk to Spencer, too. I really would. I don't know if we can get him or not.
Yeah. So. He's going to be busy.
All right, let's see.
That would be awesome if Spencer and his sister were in next season's Blood versus Water.
Oh, that'd be
Although
great.
I think it's all new players. I think it's going to be all new players.
Yeah, I think so too. So we get the reunion show. This is where Tony tells us that. We get a clip of Tony swearing on everybody.
Yes.
And this is where Tony says, "Look, Probst, I rarely slept." And you know, it's interesting. He came back, was off work for another 3 months, had parasites, hasn't been able. I mean, it's like Scoop had told us. It really takes a toll on your body. And it apparently really took a toll on Tony's body.
Which gives me more respect for people like Malcolm that turned around and played just weeks later. Right. After going through the whole game all the way to the end and then having to turn around and play again.
Yeah. I wish my body looked that good when it was that bad.
We had that many parasites.
Yeah. He's like, look at my body. It's horrible right now. And I'm like, okay.
You think so, you little ripped rascal?
Yeah. I bet when you jump up and down, it doesn't, wiggle like a like a Jell-O cake. People are listening going, oh, please, I don't need that visual. Please.
Now, let's move on.
Wait, Seth says I should hang the underwear behind you next to the Seahawks flag.
You can stand it on a shelf somewhere. What did you think of this reunion show? I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could cover, a lot of stuff that was covered and everything, but what did you like or dislike about this particular reunion show? We've already talked about how we love the live feedback and play from the studio. That was really good. Yeah. But once again, I would have much rather heard from people that were on the back row than heard from a group of kids that love Survivor. And I know he's showing that there's kids that watch the show. We got kids that listen to this podcast we appreciate. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's just go back. I want to talk to them. We're not going to get to talk to all those people. Some people will, some podcasts will, but we won't. Yeah. I really wanted to hear what Alexis had to say or Bryce had to say.
Yeah.
Just instead we get more audience fodder.
Heck, man, Probst could have just said, Alexis, would you come down here and just turn around once and go back and sit down, and that would have been fine.
It wouldn't have hurt, no.
No, but seriously, I would have liked to have heard from a Lindsay, you know? Now, granted, they get, a cool $10,000 for showing up, so they're probably like, fine, you didn't talk to me, that's fine, I'm going to go buy a car. But still, I would have liked to have heard from Lindsay, you know? Did she like my song? Probst, why didn't you ask everybody? Who all in here has had a parody written? My name was never mentioned.
What is your highlight of being on Survivor? Well, having the parody. Forget the money. Forget the show. Having the parody written about me was the best part.
I seriously think they are told beforehand, and I'm looking forward to asking, and I hope Tony and Cass say, yes, this is true. But I'm seriously thinking that they are told, do not promote your Twitter handle. Do not promote any other shows. Do not do any of that. I really do think that, because even during some of the interviews, like Poverty was talking to Spencer about how popular he is, which was a great I mean, obviously he won the other podcast's most popular award person, most popular Survivor, and yet that was not mentioned. So I really feel like they are told not to do that. I wasn't really expecting. Connie was like in the living room going, Tony's talking. He's going to mention your podcast. I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he wasn't going to. No,
hey, let's read Mike's comment.
Yes, that's what I was going to get you to do.
In Redemption Island, David Murphy deviated from the standard juror finalist conversation by talking to the jury instead. He stressed that despite Boston Rob's aggressive approach to the game, it was rather brilliant compared to the other two finalists, Philip Shepard and Natalie Tenorelli, both of whom he castigated for being mere scapegoats, very similar to Spencer's speech, and also an 8-1-0 vote. Encyclopedia Mike.
We were just talking about not promoting their Twitter and stuff, and I was talking to you this morning about Tony not really being on.
Yeah, he hasn't been on all day.
No, but his followers went from just around 11K.
Yeah.
To 12K as I was typing you that message. And now it's up to 13.6.
Yeah.
So, and it's probably going to keep going.
Yeah. Well, what a great season. All right, so this is the first. I mean, I haven't watched a reunion show. I didn't watch it last season, right? Or was that the season? Yeah, it was. I don't remember, but I know I didn't watch it last season.
Right.
So I guess part of me was hoping,
One thing I want to discuss, and since we're kind of rolling on whatever, Janice asked about questions for Tony, questions for Kaz, and questions for Steve, Andy, and Scoopin. You can send those anytime to our email, feedback@survivortalkwithdnd.com. We're not doing the feedback show, so please send in those questions because we want to have them ahead of time so we can get them ready and present them to them. Will asked, why did Probst get to promote Medea going to Oprah, but Tony can't promote the Spy Shack? We completely agree.
I totally agree.
One thing I really want to talk to our roundtable about is Final 2 versus Final 3. What they like, because I wondered, and I think me and you were talking to Andy about this online, about in a season like Caramoan, when it was Cochran, Dawn, and Sherry, if they had gone to a Final 2, it could have been dangerous, because if Cochran had lost, he could have been voted out for being someone they thought would win, and then they're stuck. I'm sorry, but in that season, that could have been a Woo cast final, with Dawn and Sherry. And and then the last season when we got Tyson, if Tyson, if they go to another challenge and Monica happens to win, she's going to get rid of Tyson, the guy that's going to run the game, and then we're down to a Monica Jervis final.
Yeah, I think we'll go back to Final 3s.
Well, they would have this season, right? Because Lindsay kind of made that happen they went to Final 2 because of Lindsay. That's what Probst says. So I think we're
enough players.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going back to a 3. Although I enjoyed the 2.
Right.
There's a lot of options for us to have a really good Final 2. But either way, even if it was cast Spencer, cast Woo and Tony, it still goes to Tony.
Yeah.
8-1 at least.
So I want to talk about something else that happened in the reunion show. It's like Probst and Sarah were not on. Sarah was trying to explain to Probst why she was upset with Tony, and it had nothing to do with what he did on the show. And Probst kept trying to push her to answer about what he did on the show, which she did. That's over. There is a Cop Star Us, and he's not in it, right? But what really happened was they were all talking and doing everything great, and Tony got a little overzealous on Twitter after she started doing all of her exit interviews.
Right.
Of course, I've heard from a couple survivors that they didn't like her exit interviews too much. But that's what she was mad about, and she's holding the grudge from that. And he's apologized to her, and she's not receiving it. So there's some bad blood between Sarah and Tony, but it doesn't have to do with what happened on the show.
Right.
It had to do with, you got to admit, Tony has graphic artists making design. He's all over social media.
We should have known he was going to do well. We so bought into that that we didn't think he was going to do well.
Yeah. But it was interesting to me because Probst refused to get into the social media aspect of it, which is the reason why she was upset. He refused to do it. So anyway.
I also felt like this was almost a Spencer show for the reunion. This was a very much, got to get back to I'm going to promote it 3 times, and I'm going to apologize to him because he did so much better. I've got a letter for you that I wrote back on the island, and
okay, now that was pretty cool.
That was cool. So? But, boy, it was okay, but it was open it, read the letter. Why?
If you're Spencer told Poverty today. At least I think it was Spencer.
Glad you had time to watch all these.
At least I think I did it during lunch. There was Chick-fil-A boxes at church, and from something that was going on, and I went and grabbed a couple. This is why I weigh 248, and I ate Chick-fil-A sandwich or 2 while I watched the Poverty videos during lunch. That's what happened.
What did Spencer say to Poverty?
Oh, yes. He said during casting that Probst got so mad at him, right, which we knew about this, but they were just, he said, Probst acting like he knows all about economic theory, and he doesn't, and I was telling him that his theories are wrong, and Probst was like, rah. Probst took off a corner piece of his paper and wrote on it, "You will not win," and gave it to him as he left and said, "Put this on your fridge, and whenever you're voted out in the first couple of weeks, remember I told you this." Probst did not think Spencer had a chance in the world.
And that's the type of person I think Probst loves. That's exactly why he got on there, because he was going to be volatile and argumentative, and it turned out it wasn't that way. Well, when you put him with a tribe that's going to stink, something totally different is going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about the finale or the reunion show?
Absolutely loved it. And not just because Tony won. It was just very entertaining. I love the live audience format. I love it. It was hosting a party. Yeah. It was so entertaining. I wish they'd spent more time with the other castaways, but otherwise, at least they were on the stage. And
I also liked it being on Wednesday night because it gave us a whole week.
I did too.
To anticipate it instead of, whoa, it's already the finale. I like waiting a week for it.
Because our best days on Facebook, and I say best as in most active and most fun, are Monday and Tuesday and leading up to Wednesday.
Right.
Because people go off for the weekend, they aren't as active. Come Monday, man, they are ready to talk about Survivor again. And I love Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday mornings.
Yeah. And today was quite active.
Yes.
I honestly, I was busy at work and honestly have not read a third of what was written on our Facebook group today.
Well, I wrote a quarter.
Hell, did you?
Just about.
Man, I was just,
we had great talks.
Awesome. All right, so let's get to it. By the way, we're winding down, but we still have some time left. So if you want to be a part of the show, get some questions on YouTube, and we will get to them. Questions or comments. Will, I lost your original comment, that big long one about how you love Tony and everything, which is fine. Just want to let you know it's gone because when we lost our connection, I lost all previous comments. So that's why it's not getting read. But we need to get to fantasy pool results, and then of course, I have the Survivor Fantasy. What?
I have it if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's official. Tony is my favorite Survivor of all time. I loved watching him all season long in capital letters. He was an absolute joy. There were numerous times when I questioned his moves. So did everybody else. And it looked like his game ended when Wu won the final immunity challenge. But he convinced Wu that Wu had to take Tony to the end to justify his "I played with honor" argument. I'll admit I was pretty convinced after the final Tribal Council that Wu was going to win it. Once again, the editors got me. Tony winning was the perfect ending to the best season in Survivor history. Congrats, Team TV.
I like him. All right. Fantasy pool results.
Fantasy pool. Oh, you're asking me?
Well, yeah, you got them. You're the fantasy pool guy.
Yeah, but I disconnected my computer, so I'm just going to pull them up right here.
All right.
And to get to Seth asked a question about season top 5 and stuff. I want to ask those questions to Steve and Andy, but how they ranked this season and how they did and everything. All right, for the final week, for the final standings, talk about just us or for everybody, or just you want to announce the top 5? I put them on Facebook.
Top 5. That's fine.
Brandon J was so far ahead. He ended up winning by only 21 points over Rockhopper because Rockhopper got 72 points this week. Oh, Woo! My goodness, because he had Tony, and he had 32 points, so he picked him a while ago.
All right.
And he put all 40 on Tony. So it was Brandon J, Rockhopper by 21 behind. And actually, Rockhopper was tied with Marwin. They both had 163. B-Bapper was in 4th, and Weed Bay Guy, Loves Amanda, came in 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So when your points came in, which you got, I think...
like 3 points or something? It was horrible.
3 or 5. Where is your name? Your name's way...
The point is, I came in what place?
You came in 19th all by yourself with 89 points.
Gosh, that's horrible.
And since I changed to Tony and got 12 points worth, however, I dumped all 40 on Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any bonus questions, though, but I picked up 52 points, and I jumped up to 7th place.
Oh, way to go, David.
With a 125, all because of the last week.
Yes, congratulations, Tony. I'm sorry. Congratulations, David.
Oh, part of the world is back in order, but now I'm ready to suffer my defeat.
All right, so let's listen to Shayna. Shout out to Shayna,
woohoo!
Who is our D&D prospect. If you watch, what's that show? I don't remember. What's the show, David?
Sons of Anarchy.
Thank you, Sons of Anarchy. She loves that show, so we called her our D&D prospect. She has been keeping track of the scores all season long. Y'all owe her a huge thank you. For those of you who are playing, go on our Facebook group and tell her how much you love and appreciate her. What, David?
And when you do that, tell us who won your league and who won your matches. We want to know the scores and who did what.
Let's hear some smack talk. All right? Smack talk. So here we go. Shayna is going to reveal all the points for the Survivor Fantasy.
Hey guys, it's Shayna. I have the final results for you guys. Okay, I'm going to start with the player who left the episode first, which was Spencer. Spencer got 1 point for the episode, 3 points for making the jury, 1 point for saying blindside once, and 2 points for saying $1 million twice. Spencer got 7 points this episode. Okay, on to Cass. Cass got 3 points for winning immunity, 1 point for the episode, 3 points for the jury, 1 point for a blur, and 3 points for saying $1 million 3 times. Cass got 11 points for this episode. Okay, Woo. Woo got 1 point for the episode, 5 points for winning the final immunity challenge, 5 points for making the final tribal council, and 8 points for saying $1 million 8 times. Woo's total for this episode was 19 points. Tony got 1 point for the episode, 3 points for his idol, 5 points for making the final tribal council, 4 points for saying blindside 4 times, 3 points for saying $1 million 3 times, and 15 points for being the season's winner. Tony got 31 points for this episode. Okay, on to David and Dwaine. Dwaine's total for this episode only was 26 points. David had 42 points for this episode. Okay, now on to the grand total. Dwaine's grand total was 307 points. David's total was 280, making Dwaine the winner by 27 points.
Woo!
But David is also a winner because Tony was on his team and Tony won. So this was a lot of fun, guys. I look forward to listening to the recap and the feedback show. Talk to you later. Bye.
I love Shayna.
That was so much better than us reading it. So I hope you didn't mind doing that, Shayna, because I think you should do that every week next season. I love that she comes on and does that.
That is a weekly thing from now on, Shayna. Just know that next season, if you still will do that,
please.
Not only that, but her voice was just awesome. She read it so well. It was great.
I could feel the pain in her voice knowing that she was getting to the end and I would be defeated. I could just feel how bad she felt for me, and I really appreciate it, Shayna. Thank you so much.
As the winner, all of you people out there get to send me stuff, right? No, that's not true.
Of the inaugural challenge, you are the winner, the first challenge.
Shayna is going to make me whatever cookie she wants.
Oh, I forgot about that.
She told me what her favorite cookie to make is, but I don't remember what it is because I told her just make whatever her favorite cookie is. So Shayna's going to make me cookies, like a whole bunch of them, and I told her she could send David one.
And I told her to save the postage. Don't spend money
to
send me a cookie.
So you don't get, okay, I get all of the cookies.
Yeah.
So, and if you would like to send me cookies for winning.
Or send me cookies in sympathy.
No, you don't need cookies in sympathy. By the way, look at my flag right here. It's a Seattle Seahawks flag.
Yes.
I would love to change that. So if you, not for any reason other than getting old.
Sorry, Faith. He's not putting you down, Faith.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like him and all, but, come August, I really want a Chicago Blackhawks flag. That's what I want back there.
Gee, I wonder who you're referring to.
I don't know. Just, but hey, if you want your team represented, you bring me a nice flag. Like, I mean, look at this flag. This isn't just, I mean, it's a nice flag. You send me, you DM me, message me. DM me. They ought to take a rope and hang me from the highest tree. Woman, don't you wait for me. Anyway, send me, I'll send you my address and you can send me something to hang on the wall, on my Survivor wall. I saw a picture today of a guy who I think is a little too Survivor, anyway. I wanted to make sure my wall behind me doesn't make me look too geekish. Does it, David? Or does it just look like my Survivor room?
It looks like a Survivor room.
Okay. Because yours looks like an office with a couple buffs on it, and mine looks like I'm a Survivor nerd.
Well, I didn't have time to get my man. Well, you keep hogging all the gifts, so nobody's sent me anything. I'm just a buff man over here. Just kind of buff.
Well, okay. I mean, the alien ears is the type of in-ears I wear. I wear them at church, so I bring them home. Blue, that's kind of microphone we both have.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Dwaine, the King of the Parodies thing. That what is her name? Alina made for me.
Awesome.
That is an Apple logo because I love Apple. And then that's just a Survivor rug. Oh, and there's Zell Farms.
Zell Farms, yeah.
Yeah, for Wendy Zell, one of our inaugural listeners. By the way, did you see what Janice wrote earlier to Will? About let's see, she wrote, Will, gosh, I wonder if I can find it. It may have been before. Oh, yeah, yeah. Will, they wouldn't make fun of you if they didn't like you. And then she wrote, it took me a while to figure that out. I guess we make fun of people, do we?
Well, yes, we do. Your begging and pleading got to Will. He said, if the Hawks win the Cup again this year, it's a done deal.
Oh, yes.
But he said, if they don't win the Cup, how about a WJD Law Center flag?
Law Center flag. Hey, man, I'll put it up.
That's right.
The giant ninja poster. Hey, if you bring me a giant, Will, if you send me a giant poster of yourself, I will put it behind me. Anybody. Yeah. Morgan, Alexis.
Poverty. Anybody.
Poverty. I will put it up behind me. Oh, that was fun, y'all. That was just so much fun. Probably we are at 2 hours. What a great show. Not just ours, but Survivor.
We're at 2.5 hours.
Are we? Oh my gosh! You two won't get. I won't get to do any audio production on this for hours and hours.
Yes.
But you know what that means? That means I'm going to eat.
But thank y'all for joining us and making this really fun, because this is how I think we should do our finales, because we do try to set up our conversations with survivors and our survivor experts. And I really like that you guys are so interactive in the chat room. And if you couldn't make the chat room, sorry. But you can send in your questions for Steve and Mike and Andy, as well for Kaz and for Tony. Send them to our feedback. Email feedback@survivortalkwithdnd.com.
That's right. So no feedback show, y'all. We're going to try to do one of our, probably the roundtable next weekend. But keep an eye on Twitter @Survivor_talk. And join our Facebook group, which is just look up Survivor Talk. There's a page and a group. The page just basically says, hey, go find the group. So look for the group. But we will post on there when we're going to have the show. All right?
Yeah. The page was first, and then we said, this isn't what we want.
No, we can't really interact as much on the page.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I know. I mean, I could do, well, I mean, that's a bunch of talk they don't care about. But so follow us on Twitter, join the group, follow David @David_Survivor Talk STWDD, and just remember, David is David from our show, not David from the season.
Yeah,
just remember that. So hit the website for blogs. No one's written one for this one. I don't know if Katya or Shayna are going to. Colton hasn't. I haven't asked him if he's going to or not. But also, you know what? Hit our Shooting the Breeze movie podcast. It is one of the featured banners on our website. It's a good podcast where we talk about lots of movies, and my brother's on the show, and it's a great podcast. Listen to it.
And that will prepare you for our TV podcast that we're going to do this summer.
Yes.
We're going to do it the same style and format, but I might ask for a little more interaction. I might ask y'all some questions to send in your comments, so that when we do our top favorite shows, maybe I'll talk about some of y'all's. Maybe we'll do a little polling, take some results from what you guys decide. It'll be just for fun, non-Survivor, unless you pick Survivor as your favorite show. Yeah. But that'll be a lot of fun. If you like the movie podcast, you're going to love the TV podcast.
Right. Absolutely. And last thing, summer's coming up, and I know you won't be as active on the Facebook group and stuff, and you kind of forget about Survivor Talk with D&D. So if you would just remember to shop Amazon and to use our links, it helps us be able to do the podcast. Even in our off months when we're not recording as much, we still have to pay for web space and stuff. I mean, we can pay for it, but if you would, and we do, but if you would love to support us, we would love to have you do it. It would be awesome. And you can go to survivortalkwithdnd.com/support and do that. So, David, I don't have anything else to say. I would like to just kind of do a little shout out to the winner of Survivor Cagayan. So here's my little shout out. The Spy Shack is a little hidden place where we can spy together. The Spy Shack Tony. Spy Shack Tony. There you go. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Any final words, David?
Great season. Great season. Thank you all for making it a great season as well on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channels, and all this kind of stuff. You guys are awesome. You make it more fun.
Music for tonight's show, we will end with Spy Shack. I will just play the entire song for you at the end of the show. And by the way, Spy Shack is my ringtone exclusive to Connie. right? Because when she calls, I'd like to be alone with her in the Spy Shack. Everyone else gets Chaos Cast, which is kind of awkward because I don't listen to Miley Cyrus. So I'll be at church walking in the hall and I'll get a phone call and it'll be, it's time to bring out Chaos Cast, and they don't hear it's time to bring out Chaos Cast. They just hear the melody and the music for Wrecking Ball. So I might need to change my ringtone from Chaos Cast. But anyway, thanks again for listening, everybody. That is all I've got. How about you, Dave?
I'm good.
All right, see you, everybody.
See ya.
And that is it for the audio podcast. YouTubers, y'all are awesome.
I want to. Mike K. We're gonna bring up that question because Scoopin does not feel that Woo's decision relates to Colby's decision. I saw your question on the YouTube channel, and no, Will, I'm not David, the GM of the Marlins. So yes, you can refollow me again. No, Seth, I'm sorry, I will not be watching Big Brother this summer.
I will, Seth. I can't wait. I am so looking forward to Big Brother this summer.
Really? Why?
I enjoyed it.
I didn't.
I don't understand all the hate.
It was like watching SpongeBob. I felt like I lost brain cells when it was over.
SpongeBob is awesome also. Oh my gosh.
And I feel like I lose. It's very funny, but I feel like I lose brain cells watching that show.
Dude, you lose brain cells because you're over 45.
And I think you lost some when you chugged that Red Bull, but otherwise.
I think so too. Man, I thought of a great D&D after show, and I don't remember what it was for later on.
There they go.
Yeah, there they go. They're missing each other.
The platelets are not connecting.
Oh, great idea for D&D. Oh, we missed it. That is what happened. Yeah.
There you go.
Gosh, it had to do with you. And
that's a great idea.
Asking you questions.
Was it about where we talked about different things we wanted to ask? Because Will's Family Feud thing got me thinking we could get we could share what people want to talk about. Yes, Seth, you can boo me all you want. I got too much good TV to watch people act like that in Big Brother.
Oh, come on.
Please.
Big Brother's a fun show.
I was really disappointed last season.
Well, last season, okay, from what I've heard, last season was not one of the best seasons.
Well, right? I've been told that I've got some shows on the list that people told me are awesome that I'm going to watch. And this summer I'm probably going to finish The Shield and get through that. And there's a couple other shows on Netflix and other things we're going to watch.
Okay, so right now I'm finishing Mad Men, which I really, really like. I'm on like season 5. I think season 6 is not on Netflix, but I can watch it through other avenues. I am watching Bob's Burgers. My friends, listen, Bob's Burgers, they call it adult cartoons or something like that on like Netflix. I get on there and goes, how often do you watch adult themed cartoons? I'm like, dude, that sounds weird. But it's not dirty. It really isn't. It's got some things that Connie's like, oh, Dwaine, you shouldn't be watching that.
It's kind of crass at times.
Every once in a while, yeah. Like the kids, they smart off to their parents, but the parents are great. The parents are funny. It is so hilarious. Bob's Burgers, please go and watch it and laugh your head off. I mean, it is, and the mom is just, oh, my little boy. It's just, it's so funny. So you got to watch that. All right. So I've got to finish that. I started to watch Arrow and lost interest very quickly because the acting in that show is beyond ridiculously bad.
It is, but it gets better.
Well, I didn't like it.
See, Will just gave me a great suggestion. Season 1 of Murder One. I will check that out and try to find it.
All right.
Because, yes, Will, I am done with watching a single second of Big Brother. I'm sorry.
But don't watch it. I will watch it, and I will talk about it on our Facebook group.
And I'll go get a drink of water or Kool-Aid, whatever.
You don't have to watch it, David. Tomorrow is the beginning of a week and a half off of work. I am so excited.
But you just missed 4 days for a deck.
No, I did not.
I thought you said you didn't go to work for 4 days. Or you didn't work on the deck for 4 days.
I didn't work on the deck for 4 days.
Well, tomorrow is the first of a 4-day weekend for me.
Sweet. Well, it is Memorial Day weekend, isn't it?
There you go.
My anniversary is on Sunday. We will have been married for 23 years.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy. Yeah, that's enough. We don't need to sing more of that.
Yes. 23 years, David. Do you realize how long that is?
I will realize 24 years.
Really?
Why?
Hey, when is your 25th? Next year?
Next year.
Okay, this is what we do. The Christmas. Christmas after your 25th and before your 25th, you and I plan a vacation for our wives. We'll go on a. We'll go. Sorry, we're not swingers. It's not that kind of vacation. We will go.
We will send them. Then we'll go.
I just realized some people are gonna be like, "Yeah, we know, we're gonna." No. That's not what we mean. But isn't that a great idea? Like the week after Christmas, we take them on a cruise, or we do something like that for our anniversary.
It sounds wonderful, but she won't do a cruise.
25-year anniversary. Y'all have just had it. The problem is, you're going to have to explain why you didn't do anything big for her anniversary. You're going to be like, wait on it. It was 4 months ago.
5 months later, yeah. Wait on it. Please wait on it.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Because when we met in Chapel Hill that weekend, we had a blast. We didn't do anything. We just hung out and just just went to Chapel Hill.
25-year anniversary, you got to do something.
Oh, no, we do something bigger than that.
I mean, we could rent a log cabin or rent it's Christmas, so you can't really rent a beach house.
Sure, we could.
Christmas?
Sure.
I'm not getting in the. Will says 25 years ago I was 11. Will, shut up.
If you're thinking about on your anniversary going to the water, then you're not thinking about your anniversary.
Come on, we're going with y'all. We're not going to spend the whole time celebrating our anniversary. We're going to go do fun stuff.
Sure, there's fun stuff to do. Next, we can meet Sarah, meet some other beach. Janice, no, we have still not watched that season 3 of Game of Thrones because she keeps bringing home 50 movies from the library that we have to watch before we take them back. So we're still working on that.
I'm still on book 2.
Yeah.
And I am beginning to realize why it's called Clash of the Kings.
Yeah.
Here I was hoping this whole king conflict would be over in the first couple chapters so we could get to the rest of the story.
Oh, no.
And then I realized, oh, wait, the book's called Clash of Kings. So at least one of them is dead. Yes. So now we just got to get the rest of them dead.
Well, it's about everybody claiming to be the rightful king, and then they clash.
Right. Thus the clash.
I'm getting into book 2 as well. I'm reading that with you as well.
Yes.
Anything else?
I like Will's. You can buy it on Amazon. Use the link from the D&D webpage, though. Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Make sure you don't already have it in your cart before you go there, or we don't get any credit for it.
Right.
So. All right. By the way, nothing you can say can convince me to watch Under the Dome. Don't even bring it up on the Facebook group. It will not be accepted.
It will be denied. Denied access. You have denied access on this Facebook group.
I will delete that post so quickly. I mean, just watching the preview makes me just remember how stupid it is. It was such a great concept. It was such a good book, or I enjoyed it. It's just, ain't gonna do it. All right,
I'm not even excited to read the book now.
No, you need to read the book.
I know.
Although you're reading Game of Thrones right now, so.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I guess we did have a D&D after show. Thanks for hanging around.
Sorry about that.
We did have a lot of viewers tonight. We did not reach our top viewers numbers, but we did have a lot of viewers. And I have a feeling this YouTube video should get quite a few views, and that would be awesome.
Thanks for all the thumbs up and for sticking around. They're already signing off.
All right. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
See ya.